Yeah! Welcome to another episode of ArtCo Drone Solutions. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking about the Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle and other FPV drones. But before we get things going, hey, it's time for a little bit of humor. Yes. All right. Patient says to the doctor, have to help. You have to help me. I think I can see the future. The doctor says, when did it start? Next Friday. All right. What do Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common? The middle name. What do you call bears with no ears? B. A woman told her friend, I feel like my body has gotten totally out of shape. So I got my doctor's permission to join a fitness club and start exercising, she said. So I decided to take an aerobics class for seniors. I bent, twisted, gyrated, jumped up and down, and perspired for an hour. But by the time I got my leotards on, the class was already over. I told my physical therapist I broke my arm in 2 places. He told me to stop going to those places. A retired man now volunteers to entertain patients at assisted living homes and hospitals. He visited one hospital in Brooklyn and brought along his portable keyboard. After telling jokes and singing songs at patients' bedsides, he said, farewell, and I hope you get better. One elderly gentleman replied, I hope you get better too. That kind of sounds like Lloyd with some of his ventriloquism. Yeah, so, hey, how about some more jokes here? Okay. A farmer in the field with his cows counted 169 of them, but when he rounded them up, he had 200. A Buddhist walks up to a hot dog stand and says, make me one with everything. What does a nosy pepper do? Get a jalapeno business. All right. I think that's enough torture for you guys. So let's get the show underway and let's bring up my co-host for this week. Chuck is still in Scotland enjoying the scenery and the wind and the rain and the meals up there from all the pictures I've been seeing. So, hey, let's get things going and let's bring in my first panelist all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, the demure Lloyd Mendenhall.
Hello,
Lloyd.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You know, there's this joke book out. It's called 1001 Great Jokes. I think I'm gonna buy you a copy for Christmas. I got the wrong. What have I got up here? I've got the. What the hell is that logo on there? And where is it?
Grumpy and Gurlock.
Gurrock.
Gurlock. Okay. Hey, I gotta do something for Ken. Hopefully this will work. No, that's the wrong one. I don't know what happened to all my. Let's go. No, that's the wrong one too. I wanted to hit. And I don't know how to stop that one.
Yeah, you have to. If you use. What are you using for your keyboard?
Okay. Oh boy, nice.
Let's see. I think the one. See if I've got it here. Where is it? Oops, that's not working either. Hey, mine don't work either. And
I
we're
think
off to a
it
rousing
stopped.
start. Here we go. Yeah. 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 It finally stopped. Oh,
Oh man.
maybe that's what Ken was doing after your jokes.
Yeah. He says, "Can I get a refund?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ken, for that $5. Next week, I'm going to get my. I'm using my keypad, and I had them all set up, and then, but what, a week or two ago, it started acting up, and
Right.
none of the ones correspond to my. I have a list right here, and number one should be laughter, and
Right.
number two should be
Now,
applause.
if you're running them through, which is what my problem was, if you're running them through your, let me see if this works now. I don't know if it will. Nope, still didn't work.
Oh, that's the one that I was trying to get working.
Did it work? Okay.
Yeah, I heard the cash register.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't because I'm still having problems with my headsets, but let me switch these around. Now let's see if that works. No, I still can't hear it. Oh, well.
Yeah, cash register again.
Okay. Well, whatever. Sometimes technology is a pain in the backside.
Yeah, it sure is. Hey, I
And,
want to say hello to everybody in the chat. I want Danny, the View Chaser, and David, the Arizona Drone Dude, Steve Mack, Ken Heron, Jim Wallace, alias Mr. Graphic, and Jody Drone Shot. And then I saw, Troy, Big Water Media, or Big Water UAV Solutions, I mean. And who else? I
Hot
think
Rod,
that's
Hot
about
Rod and
it.
Daytona just came in.
Oh, Hot Rod, good to see you. Hey,
Yep,
thanks for coming. All right. So anyway, I got this last week. This is my Tiny Hawk Freestyle, and I got to fly it last Sunday. And man, I love this thing. I mean, it's a rocket. I mean, it's got a
that
lot more power because you plug in two 1 cell,
2.1S batteries. Yeah, yeah,
1S, yeah.
yeah.
And so I ordered an adapter to protect the antenna and to hold the battery, and then I got little pads for the landing. So
Right, right.
yeah, and that should be here somewhere between Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Okay,
Monday and
cool,
Wednesday.
cool.
That's sweet.
Oh,
And then
so
this week I got this little guy. This is a little bee drone, B Core version 2 or V2, and it's
okay,
a brushed motor. This is a 65 millimeter, where the Tiny Hawk is 75. Hello, Grant, Mr. Stay Drunk. Good to see you. And so
yeah.
to
If I'm tired tonight on your show, it's because of Grant, because we set up talking till the wee hours of the morning. So
oh,
it's all his fault. I'm blaming it on him.
all right, and there's my Teespring. Also, uh, I'm affiliate of Amazon, so in the
Oh,
description below, you could order this Tiny Hawk, and even if you don't get the Tiny Hawk, if you order anything on Amazon, I still get a commission on that, which is cool.
oh, cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had an affiliate link at one time, and for whatever reason, I just never used it or never put it up. I can't remember now. It's been a while.
Yeah, so I just gotta remember to do it, and then every so often you gotta refresh it. You gotta go and
Right.
get a new link to put it in, and that should work.
Yeah, you're
So
right. I did not. You're right, Rod. I did not get enough nap time before the show. Yeah. Uh, but well, isn't this exciting? Aren't you glad you invited me to be your co-host?
well, so hopefully Doc Murdoch will join us
Right. Right.
shortly, and I think Adrian may join us a little later, and
Right.
hopefully Tater will pop in. Oh, here's
Yeah.
my affiliate link.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so Steve's got the long link in there. That's good. So if you want to get
Yeah.
a tiny hawk or you get these kind of batteries. This is what I got. And I like these. These are the GN3s. They're pretty darn good batteries. These are the 520s.
Right.
Those are pretty good. And then I have the Emax, the 450s, which are
Yeah, I think
pretty
that's what I've
good.
got for my tiny hawk. I have to look now.
Mhm.
I don't even know where they're at. Shows how long it's been since I've flown it.
Yeah.
But
Well, the nice thing about the Tiny Hawk, did you get the Tiny Hawk too, or did you get the Freestyle?
no, I got Mel had the Tiny Hawk one and he sent it to me. And so
Oh,
I have the original Tiny Hawk. And
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can fly that around in your house, and
Yeah. Because uh and like I said, I haven't flown it in a while because yeah, my life's topsy turvy, and when I get free time, this is what I do. And I
right,
don't have that much, believe it or not, being retired, I don't have that much free time because, having to help out with Judy. It's like last night, just as Greg's show was starting, she decided to get up or whatever, and my everything had gone down. My internet had crashed. My Wi-Fi had crashed. Everything,
I
because
remember.
once your internet goes down, everything reboots itself. So I lost my video camera, and it took about 5 minutes to get everything back. But in that time period, the camera was down. When I popped it back up, it still wasn't connecting yet. So uh, I heard something in the background, like, oh my God, I think so. I had to run and pick. Judy had fallen out of the bed. She was sitting on the side of the bed, and she had her feet up on the bed rails on the side, and her foot slipped, and she just slid on down to the floor. So I had to go pick her up and get that done. It's just like, so
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff that happens in my life quite frequently now, but it is what it is. So
Want to say hello to Alan, Drone Views Media. Oh, good. Glad she'll be making it back to the Philippines. My ex fiance's brother Dante, he just got into the Philippines. He's still under quarantine until the 6th, and he's down in Cebu City. So once he gets out of quarantine, then he goes and flies up to Manila and go see his wife and 3 kids. And I'm the godfather to his oldest son, Daniel,
oh, okay.
who will be 5 in December. Last time I saw him, he was only a couple months old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, how long has it been since you were in the Philippines?
he'll be almost 5 years. He'll be 5 years in February. Yep. So hopefully I'll be able to go in 22. I'm kind of looking at February or March.
Yeah. I was talking before Greg's show last night. I was talking with Pia, of course, she's from the Philippines, his wife is.
Yep.
And we were discussing our English, and the way American English versus Australian English. Well, in the Philippines, they say aluminum, not aluminium. They
Yep.
use American English, and I
Yep.
think that's probably because of them, being part of our, because of our connection during the war and all that time
Yep.
beforehand,
It was a
So,
territory of the United
territory. Yeah.
States for about
Yeah.
50 years. Yep.
Yeah. Even though they're closer to Australia than they are the United
Right.
States, their English is based off of American English rather than Australian English, so she was giving poor Greg a lot of grief over his, because I had said something and he made fun of it, and she said the way I said it was right. She was the producer of the show, so I agreed with her.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, gotta agree with the producer. So,
And hopefully later today we'll have James from My PI Dream will join us, and he's probably eating some waffles about now.
yeah, don't make me hungry for waffles, man. See, I eat frozen waffles because it's just Judy and I. It's not worth getting out the waffle iron. English is overrated. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I've had that discussion for
James,
years.
he's married to a Filipina, of course.
Right.
They make their own. They get they make up the batter, and they got the waffle iron and pour it in.
That's just too much work for
But
me to
they
have one.
get syrup from Canada because they've got friends that send them what's called a buying box, which is a great big box full of goodies, and one of them was several bottles of Canadian maple syrup.
Maple syrup, yeah. I get my syrup right down here at the local grocery store, and it's made right here locally in Muskogee, Oklahoma. So,
hey, there's Ed. Good to see you, Ed.
good to see you, Ed. Yeah,
I gotta say something about Ed. Ed
absolutely.
had a stroke not too long ago, and I don't know, hey, Steve, if you could do that, put the GoFundMe up in the chat. We need to help out this guy. Ed's a great guy and a
Yes,
droner,
yeah.
and we've got a great community here, and we help each other out in need. Like, for example, Lloyd's dog needed some surgery, and we were able to pull
Do that.
together and help out Lloyd. And
that helped out a lot too. I mean, that meant a lot to Judy and it meant a lot to me. And so yeah, that was a good thing. And like with Ed, I mean, I know what it's like, not as a stroke victim, but as a caregiver for a stroke victim, and it's rough and frustrating, and I see it every day in Judy, how frustrated she gets sometimes, especially is getting with her, and of course she's got Parkinson's, so she also anytime we can help, I look at helping a community member like Ed, who is dealing with the effects of stroke, because great or small, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it really, it's frustrating, and when you have to deal with like what he's having to go through and having to come up with, house payments and all that stuff that's out there, and then trying to recover from the stroke. Sometimes it's just a daunting task. And so yeah, anybody that can help out a little bit, that would be great.
Right. Well, here,
And
I'm
Ed's
going to
just a
put the
nice
link
guy.
in. Hopefully, this will work. I will.
Well, you should be able to post it if you're a moderator.
There we go. I put it in the chat. Johnny DRC, good to see you. And Glenn Thunderbird 6, welcome. And
There you go,
yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a good idea, Rod. If we if we just got everybody to speak binary instead of English.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I was confused there for a minute.
Yeah, zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones, yeah. When you said binary, I'm thinking, okay, my mind went somewhere else. That's for tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's what's
Yeah.
going. So I also did a mod on my old. Yes, that's right. Yep, I remember that hot rod. Yep, I got out my old Bugs 3 drone, and I was able to put an FPV camera on it. So this morning I took it out for a test flight, and it works. It's not a great camera, but it works. But just need to practice with that controller. Yep. Yeah, we hear you, Ed. Yep.
Yep. Well, and that's sort of the problem I have with my EMS is the paralysis I went through, and then the lack of sensation in my hands, and of course lack of balance, which so yeah. So, and when you can't do that, the best thing you can do is if you can get the retirement, and but it's a long from start to finish. There's a lot of empty space in there. You can go for a long time, and bills still got to be paid. They still got to be paid, regardless of
Yep.
what you're, because yeah, the world doesn't stop turning. The rest of the world doesn't stop turning just because yours does.
That's right.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm. And that's why we help out Ed, to get him over that rough spot until his Social Security kicks in, and then he can
kicks in. Yeah,
get back on his feet and get back to not normal, but at least he could
well, you get
live
back
the
where you can.
retired life.
Yeah, or not depending on how well his Social Security doesn't always pay squat. I can tell you a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah.
Fortunately for me, I've got a 401k that'll help out, and well, Lloyd, you got a pension from the Air Force, didn't you?
I've got I got 100% disability from the Air Force. Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, I'm at times I'm very comfortable. At other times I'm broke like everybody else because you live with what we don't always like after what happened at the first of the year or last year when my dog. Well, we just gone through and spent a bunch of money on stuff that needed to be done, but it was our savings we took, and we've been able to build it back up now. But January of 2020, when all that happened, it was
Yeah, that's right,
SSDI only
Johnny.
pays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
and it
it's
should go up this month because of the inflation, or the what is that, the
that
consumer
won't
price index.
yeah, yeah, but that won't kick in until January 1st.
Oh, January. Okay.
Yeah, they started after the first of the year. Although the budget, let's see,
Oh boy. Yep.
even if you miss what I will get supposedly, disability could take 6 months. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and you might be able to apply for SSDI.
Yeah, you'll
Or
probably get more.
yeah. Well, you apply for what you can do is for there's SSDI, and then there's there's a stopgap that's in between the two that kind of, but before it kicks in, it's sort of like a, it's not welfare, but it's SSI, I think is what it's called. Supplemental Security Income, yeah, SSI. And you get that first if you can apply for that, and then you do your disability and go through all of that crap, and then you get your SSDI, which is your disability insurance. And but yeah, you can sometimes your SSI, or at least they used to have that. I don't know if they have that now. Of course, that is, it's means tested. So, but if you ain't got nothing coming in, that usually qualifies you pretty quickly. So,
right.
And with having a stroke like that, that usually
right.
Been on SSDI since
Probably 91.
Yeah, I was going to say 1091. Did they was Social Security even around in 1091?
1091.
Yeah, yeah.
Must have been put in for quite a while.
I think he might have missed a night in 1991. Yeah, and that's sad too. Panhandlers make more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Of course, now they get licensed. You can get that's a form of a living now. You can get a license to be a panhandler, and
Wow.
I know here in town you have to wear an orange vest and you have to have a license. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that here. But you know what? We'll save that for tomorrow, Lloyd.
Yes, exactly. I just saying, like I said, we got professional hobos in our town. 1991. Okay, that's better.
Yeah, we kind of figured that, Johnny.
Well, 1091. I'm thinking he's older than I am.
I think that was just right after the Battle of Hastings.
Battle of Hastings, yeah. That was
1066.
1066, yeah. William of Normandy.
Yep. William of Orange, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. It needed to be done. Of course, then it's when the Normans came in. That's when they started using that's when they.
Yeah, that's right, Troy.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's just. But wow, we're getting way off topic. But where's the drone?
Hey, welcome to ArtCo Disability Insurance Show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I mean, this is what affects our community. I mean, everybody, everybody here in the United States has to deal with this, and in other countries too.
Yep.
City closed all the recycling centers, get rid of the druggies. Yeah.
Yep. So let's get back to drones. Let's have some happy time.
It's one or two things are going to happen. Either I was going to reach around behind me and pull out my Rotor Riot drone. I almost said something else, and I'm going to that was sounding wrong. In my head, it sounded wrong, so I knew it would have sounded wrong, especially with this crowd tonight. So, yeah.
Sam and Rose FPV, good to see you. All right. So this is a B-Core board on there with some kind of FPV camera. I'm not sure if it's a nano run cam, but this was custom built, and thanks to Bill at Metro Drones, he paid for part of this, and so this only cost me $30 on eBay. So hopefully I'll be able to fly this tomorrow, and this will probably take the place of my Tiny Hawk, and I could fly it around my apartment, and maybe next time I go to Rick Enstrom's house, I could fly this around his mansion. I call them mansion. It's a huge house. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. See, I've got a drone too. This is my Rotor Riot 5-inch, and it's what is that?
That's what
4S
she said.
battery. Yeah. Well, that's what I said. I didn't want to say I was going to reach around and pull out my 5-inch because that would have sounded wrong all the way around.
Oh,
Yeah. But anyways, I think, and this is definitely the run cam. So this
yeah.
that particular camera right there is actually the
Yeah.
Joshua Bardwell edition. It's and of course Rotor Riot tuned it, and I know the guy who built it. He comes into my show quite a bit, and he's the one who built this for me. And
Cool.
you know,
That's awesome.
he works for Rotor Riot, but I had them build it because I don't have the
Oh, the
patience.
CL1?
CL1, yes, yeah. Yes, this is the CL1, and I mean it is tough built. I mean this thing is a, and it's got the the what is that, the foxtail lollipop on it, and of course I'm blessed and fortunate. Why doesn't it have props on it? Because I take them off when I put them in my toolbox.
Oh,
Yeah, well, it would help if I flew it more. I've fired it up and I've gone that route, but yeah, it's
there's Ed's GoFundMe. Throw a few bucks in there.
yes,
He is like
but
really close to his goal, so let's
good,
get him over
good.
the line there. Oh yeah,
But
Foxer Lollipop.
yeah, Foxtail. That's I said Foxtail because I was talking with Grant last night about their internet because they really ripped Greg off on his internet. And this is
Oh yeah, I
these are
heard
the
about that.
Hypertrain, yeah, the Hypertrain blaster motors on it. So, I mean, this is a well built machine, and the guy that does it, I mean, he twists the cables up and turn. It is tightly put together. It's just
Hmm.
really uh, uh, well put together, and I was just I was impressed with it. But I'm telling you, it took me forever to figure out. And you and I talked about how you have to push this little button and down here. Let's see, it's right there.
Right.
That little button right there underneath that shrink wrap,
Yeah,
and
to bind it.
to bind it. Oh my God, you got to be a contortionist,
Oh.
and it also helps. Uh, It also helps to know what in the hell you're doing to begin with. I was like you. I was pushing this button over on the. I mean, who in their right mind puts the little button back there? Why don't somebody get smart and put put it right here where this little button's at? They could have put another one
Hmm.
in there and tied it in. No, yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
anyways, but yeah, and I have what are these? These are the. Let's see. It's the. I think these are 13. What are they? Now I got to look.
Capture Life Connection. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, it's a 1300 120Cs. So,
Mm.
and they're 4S batteries. And all I got to do is go in there and I can change it over to 5S. Just by going into the that thing.
Cool.
Beta flight.
Yeah. Yep.
Go into beta flight and I can switch it over to, and I can run 5S's on it because I think those are they 2600, 26 something Hypertrain blasters. And it is a sweet machine, and but I haven't spent enough time, and I could say the reason I missed your joke. Let me go back. What was that when he said, all right, where did I miss it? I got to see this because yeah, I have 6 packs ready for the morning. Okay, where did I miss his joke at? I don't have to do it in beta flight. I could just strap the 5S on and it should be fine. Okay. I may do that.
Mhm. So my 5-inch is still in the shop. I think I'm going to go ahead and let him repair it. All right, Johnny, I will check that out.
Make sure I have extra arms in front. Well, yeah, that does have the separate arms. That's right. He sent you a photo of his chair. Okay. Oh, cool. Bob has a new upload. Sweet. 5S will run just fine with no change of beta flight. Yes. Okay, good. Then I'll just buy me some friggin' 5S and go with it then. I thought Doc Murdoch. See, a lot of the stuff that I went with was based off of what Chris and I, Doc Murdoch and I, talked about, and
Right.
the goggles I got. That's the reason I got the goggles that I did, and of course it had to do with money too. But yeah, so but wow,
Yeah, I went and got the FTX Vipers. Those are pretty good goggles.
right,
I really
right.
like them, and maybe down the road I'll get Fat Sharks, and those will be a little smaller.
Okay, all right, yeah, 8-inch or go home. Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you're right. I missed it. Thank you, Sam. Man, I'm telling you, I'm not used to doing shows without, this is just at that time period. I usually take a nap. We're just now coming up. I'm waking up from my nap and getting ready for my own show, on Mondays. But I've rested up, and in today's show, I think the dummy is shedding on me or something, or I need to shave, one of the two. We're not going to go there. That did not come out right at all. Back up. Let's delete that whole section. Can we go back?
Take care, Johnny. Good to see you.
Goodbye, Johnny. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta watch what I say with this crowd because I forgot how brutal they can be. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, so hey, folks, just so you know, I may be the grumpy vlogger, but I do own drones.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
Speaking of drones, what do you think of these Autel ones that have come out that they're showing or that reported? Are they out yet, or are they just? Is that still just leaks?
I think they're coming out pretty soon. I think it's the Mavic 3 that's going to be coming out. I think in November. Yeah,
see what Hot Rod said.
that's
Get you
right, Hot Rod.
demonetized. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch. It's like my show. I don't care because I'm not monetized, and nor will I ever be. I don't care. For one, you got to get 1,000 subscribers, and I've yet to do that.
Mm-hmm. You're so close. You're at what, 725?
No, I'm back down to 721. I backed up this week.
Okay.
So whatever.
Well, I'm back up to 1449. I'm almost to 1450, and we'll get that up. But I got to be friends with Northeast Dronus, and he's helped me get some more subscribers.
Well, I quit vlogging. That was a lot of what was driving my show for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I only do a live show now. And mind you, I'm on 2 or 3 other live shows over the weekend. Right. So I'm known. I just don't have the subscriber count. And I really do. At one time, it bothered me for a while. I really got locked into those numbers, and it really bothered me. But I have a freedom to do whatever the hell I want on my show. Right. And I don't have to worry about monetization. I can play any kind of crappy music I want, They want to share in the proceeds that my channel brings them. Okay,
Mhm.
whatever. I do use Epidemic Sound for the most part, but I
Yeah.
also have license under my under Wirecast because yes, I have Wirecast. I also have license under Power Director. So I've got a plethora of music sources
Music.
that I can use on my channel. You know,
Mhm.
I can't go using
Right.
it on your channel. Like I don't know, who do you use for your music?
Oh, I use Epidemic Sound.
Okay, so anything I would play, I would try to make sure that same with on Mel's. Although I don't know if Mel has an epidemic right at the moment or not.
Right. 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 Hot Rod
You're
said
right, Bob. You're right.
the Nano and the lights come out at the end of October, early November. Yeah, that's right. And from what let's see, from what I understand, is it the Nano that's going to compete with the Mavic Mini, and then the
Yeah,
Light is going to compete with the Air 2?
Air 2. I think that's the way it's looking. They talked about when it first, all these rumors first started flying, I thought there was going to be an Autel Evo 2 Pro, but apparently they, I'm still reading those comments. Squirrel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, but yeah, they, talked about doing that, but apparently they're just bringing out the tube. I think they're going to have like different levels of them.
right.
And,
That's
so, you
mhm.
know, uh,
You're going to have different cameras and
right, different
yeah,
camera combinations. From what I'm seeing of that Nano, it looks like it's got a lot. It might actually be better than the Mini too.
yeah, mhm,
So
yeah.
I don't know. When I first got into this, I actually what was the X Star? Is that what the first Autel was?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
I
Yeah,
actually I actually looked at getting that rather than going with DJI, and I just at the time I just couldn't see spending the money, so.
yeah.
And it kind of then it died out. So I looked at other things, and eventually I finally got a Spark, which I've never regretted. And
Right.
then I got the Mavic Air
Hmm.
original, and, and I haven't upgraded anything since, other than the going into the FPV stuff. You know,
Okay. He's
Nano,
Hot
Nano
Rod said
Plus, Light,
Nano,
Light
Nano
Plus.
Plus, and Light. Okay.
Yeah, I could
Cool.
actually
Cool.
see because even though my two camera drones are DJI, I'm not necessarily a DJI fanboy.
Hmm.
I mean, if I were to win a, oh, I hate when this happens, Skydio.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to taking the
Oh,
Skydio. I mean, if somebody
yeah.
just
Same
gave me
here.
one,
Same.
you know,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have a problem
Oh,
with
and
it.
I'm flying. EMAX FPVs, and I'm using
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
got
yeah.
this. I've got my buds.
Shoot,
Yeah.
I still got my SEMA 5 and my SEMA 8 back there
There
behind the
you
green
go.
screen. You know, yeah, my first DJI drone was, and I bought three of them. Uh, uh, I bought the Spark. I bought a red, white, and a blue one. I bought one for each one of my boys and one for myself. And then after trying to do the backup thing,
Mhm.
that's true. I just always said no geofencing, but I've heard this week that they are actually going to start geofencing.
Hey, Lloyd. Let's
Yes.
welcome all the way from St. Augustine, Florida. It is the delightful Mr. Ed. Welcome, welcome, Ed. Good to see you.
Hello, Ed. How you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in there, man. Dude, I can't believe the love that's been shown to me over the last couple days. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
we have a
this is
great community
very,
here.
very good community. I mean, You don't have, I think it was Bill on Coast to Coast Drones the other night was talking. He says, in this community, we're not red, we're not blue, we're not rainbow, we're not anything. We are droners, and that's the community we belong to. Politics and everything might be different, but by God, when it comes to it, we are a community of people that love drones.
Mhm.
Even a grumpy old guy like me likes drones.
No, man.
Or a little squirt like me.
Yeah.
I think at that meetup down in Florida, I was the shortest person there.
yeah, you were, Art.
Yeah,
Man,
you
it
know,
was
you're just
windy out there. I'd probably
Oh,
get
it sure
blown away.
was.
I'd probably get blown away now. How much I weigh? I've dropped a lot of weight. I'm down to 105 pounds. Can you believe that?
Wow, I
wow.
wish I was 105 pounds.
Boy, I don't. I'd look like a skeleton. I mean, I'm down to 182, and I'm happy to be down there. How tall are you, Ed?
Well, 5'5", I guess.
You could probably use an extra 20 pounds.
I should weigh 120. But
Yeah.
That's about how much I weigh.
the thing is I don't know, man. It's really weird because I mean, I was ready to go, man. I was like, my grandmother used to call it leaving the area. Oh, so and so left the area. I was ready. I was prepared. I was good with myself. I felt pretty good with God or whatever, and it's like, just take me, just take me. And then I mean, I'm like, why am I not going? It was like, beam me up, Scotty, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, things were getting weird, and I'm like, okay, man, I'm just gonna do the GoFundMe thing.
Yeah.
And
that's a hard thing to do, but we have a community that.
Well, I mean, that's not me, Lloyd. That's not who I am, and it really isn't.
Well, I look at mine. I look at what you're going through and what I did for my GoFundMe. It was important because our dog was also my wife's service dog, and he was a lot to her mental well-being as well as her physical well-being. But that's trivia. I still could have dealt with it one way or the other, but I was fortunate that when she had her stroke, we were in a better position and I didn't have to worry about that at the time. But she had her stroke in January, and she still has her days. I mean, there's days that she communicates great, and there's days that I'm like, what the hell did she just say?
I mean, and that would even be, I mean, that's even worse because the on and off thing, now I don't have a lot of on and off things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
right.
yeah, the on and off thing, that would even be worse. I mean, that would be hard to deal with.
Yeah, in her case, it just basically took her vocabulary, her dictionary. I'd say it just dumped every word out of the dictionary that she ever knew, then scrambled them up, and then threw them all back in, but not in any particular order. So, she might be talking about wanting a sandwich, and she's asking me for an icicle. What? It's just fall. We don't have icicles yet. No, what? I said, you're wanting ice cream? No. That thing that you put in the toaster? Yeah. Okay. And you don't know how many times I've gotten her the wrong thing because I didn't understand what the hell she was meaning. And it's like, and she was just say, that's just never mind. I'll eat it. It's just like, oh, okay. there's days that it's like that, and it's hey, it's getting better. The problem is our boys don't come around enough. If something happens to me, they're going to be lost, because I've spent since January learning how to communicate with her every day. So
Mm.
I'm understanding what she's meaning, by circumstances or what words she's associating. But yeah, going through a stroke, I mean, from my side of it, I can't imagine what it was like going through it from your side or from her side. I just, it's just, and in her case, I don't know how did yours come on? When did how did yours come about? I mean,
All right, so it was a Saturday, and
Mhm.
I went to Walmart, got some groceries, and I was actually putting the groceries in the truck. My boss provided me with the work truck, which my only mode of transportation, and I'd gone to Walmart with it, gotten some groceries, and I just loaded them in the truck when my boss called, who was working that Saturday. And he asked if I was home, and I said, no, I'm at Walmart. He goes, oh, well, can you got a 10-foot ladder on your truck? I said, yes. He says, well, can you drop it off to me on your way home?
Mhm.
So I did that. I dropped off the ladder to him, went home, got my chair, maybe had a beer, maybe ate something, I don't know. But I fell asleep in my chair. The very chair that I'm sitting in now. And then when I woke up, I'm like, my left arm is numb, My mouth felt a little weird, and the left side of my face was numb.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's just not the first time it happened, but the other time was like 10 years ago.
Right. Right.
And I didn't know that was a stroke at the time,
Yeah.
but it was. Anyway, so did I go to the hospital? Did I call 911? No. Like, I woke, I'm like, oh, maybe I just slept funny and pinched a nerve or something. And
Right.
but this was on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, it was still the same, and I knew my balance was off. And then Sunday afternoon, I texted my boss and I said, I'm going to the hospital tomorrow. And I'm leaving the keys on the floorboard to the work truck. So I called a cab on Monday because I am the world's worst procrastinator, and I hate going to doctors. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, other than going to the emergency room that Monday morning, I probably hadn't been to a doctor in 10 years. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I have severe white coat syndrome. You know what I mean? Needles, all that stuff, they scare the crap out of me.
Right.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Jimbo. How you doing,
Jim.
brother?
Yeah, that's he was talking about the to be effective at TPA and other drugs have to be. That's the thing we were pushing with Judy, was to get her over there in time.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately hers was a type that we got her there in time, but just barely. And but she's like you though, she didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she, you know,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, when does that 90-minute clock start ticking? I don't know. You
yeah,
know,
well,
and I don't understand how I could reverse it. I don't get that. I don't understand how that could possibly work.
Well, what it does
Unless
is it opens up the blood vessels to where your brain, the part of your brain that's been starved of oxygen, because you either had a blood clot or an aneurysm that burst. So you got other blood vessels that are fine, and if you dilate them, then it's getting more blood to that area that's been damaged.
yeah, because you have what it comes down to is you have a finite time in which you start having a degrading of the brain cells and a degrading of the brain
Hmm.
for lack of oxygen. Okay, so once once you get that opened up, the faster you can get those opened up. Now with Judy, I knew exactly how long we had because I knew exactly when she had the stroke because I was talking to her the moment it happened. In
oh
your case,
wow,
though,
so she
yeah, her
wasn't sleeping or napping or anything. It
no,
was just
we were actually talking, uh, and I had just printed her something on a 3D printer, and it was a tea set. It was a teapot and the lid, and she wanted me to make the cups and saucers, and I said, "How do you like the teapot?" She says, "Oh, it's great," and then she kind of just a slight hesitation for a second. I looked at her and she goes, "So are you going to make the grandma and the grandpa and the granddaughters?" I said, "Huh?" I said, "It took me 3 days to figure out what she wanted to know. Was I going to make the cups and saucers that went with the teapot and the lid?" But the words were grandma, grandchildren, granddaughters. Did not make
that
any sense.
Hmm.
And it was like,
that's trippy, man.
it
That
happened
would be weird.
like that. I mean, just like that, from one sentence
I
to the
mean,
next.
I can't
So,
even imagine that because I mean, like you know, like I said, I fell asleep in the chair and then I woke up and I was just kind of like numb and stuff, and my sense of balance was crap.
right, right.
But I didn't. I wasn't zoning off into some
Hmm.
weird place, you know what I mean, or anything like that. So I can't imagine that must have been
Well,
rather
and it was trippy
Hey,
for
terror.
her
let's
too.
welcome all the way from Palm Bay, Florida. It's Jim Boyd.
Hey
Welcome,
guys,
Hey
welcome, Jim. Good
Jim.
to
Jim,
see you.
I just want to say one thing about you can't. The guy having the stroke doesn't know they're having a stroke, but
exactly.
anyone around them, one side of the mouth, different the eye pupils will be different. They can't hold their arms out. That's why we always ask them, hold your arms up. They
Right.
can't hold them
Yep.
straight.
Uh-huh.
Things like that. You can't play. In order to bust the clot, TPN is given in the hospital because it's not on the ambulance. But heparin and things like that are just normal blood thinning type drugs after the clot's
Yeah.
busted. You got to get that TPN.
Right.
And then they worry about if the clot's too big, if that breaks, is pieces going off to your brain, like Lloyd was just saying.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But you
Yeah.
can't play with it, man. It's only good within, we used to say 90 minutes, but
I think they extended it to 3 hours.
yeah,
Is
I
what they
saw.
told us.
I did
Yeah.
see that actually.
Yeah. So, yeah. In Judy's case, the other side of that coin, Ed, was not only could I not understand her, but everything I said to her, she heard the words differently because her translator was broken. Just that simple.
Yeah, you
Her
don't
friggin'
know.
translator. Yeah, and she doesn't know, and she can't understand why I'm so damn stupid. You know, what the hell's wrong with you is in her head, but in her mouth was, she finally got out our oldest son's name out, and I said, "You want me to call James?" And she understood that, so I called him, and then we got the ambulance over there. But I knew she had a stroke. And I mean, I knew that's what was going on, but to her, she didn't want to go to the hospital. She thought I was going to leave her there. No, well, I did, but I didn't have a lot of choice.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially
but
now.
it was,
They
yeah.
won't let you stay with
Yeah,
the
with
patient.
with COVID, yeah, I wasn't, you know, I
Right.
was fortunate. Our COVID restrictions were a little different here in Oklahoma than they were in a lot of the country. So, you know, but one of us could stay in the room part of the time, you know, during visiting hours. After visiting hours, we had to go home. And, but yeah, it was, but she didn't understand that she was having a stroke, and just like,
A lot of them will tell you that I've spoken to my patients. I'll tell you that they knew what they were saying. It was coming out wrong.
yeah, exactly.
They knew what they
Yeah.
were trying to say. It just
Yeah, it's called,
wasn't coming out.
it's called global aphasia.
Aphasia. Yeah.
Yeah, aphasia. Yeah.
Mm.
And she has the global aphasia, which affects her whole, you know, not just, it's like some of these people you hear about that they go to sleep and then they wake up, or they have a traumatic brain injury and suddenly they're speaking like they're Italian. They're speaking English, but with an Italian accent, or they're from Connecticut and they're speaking with a Texas accent. It's not that they're suddenly developed a new accent or an Australian accent. It's that the
Not that there's
the
anything wrong with an Australian accent.
Yeah.
no. But
I'm
it's just
kidding. I'm kidding.
what happens is they have injury to the brain that affects their speech pattern, and it's like with a slur that you get from a stroke, or a stammer that somebody gets, you know, or somebody has. You know, I'm a stutterer myself, and so you know it's just the fact I'm having to fight it right now because I said it now, but yeah,
Are you
what
having
it is,
one
it
now?
affects the brain. Yeah, right. I'm having troubles with the stuttering. It just friggin', where'd Ed go?
His internet.
Yeah, where's it? Hey,
His internet just did a dive.
it's about that time, everybody. It is time for Toffee giveaway. Pick a
Hey,
number between 1 and 50, and we will spin the prize wheel, and you may be a winner of premium Enstrom's almond toffee. So
I
pick
doubt
a
it, but we'll
number.
try.
which is good stuff, by the way. I liked it, Art.
Yep.
Oh, it's my favorite of all the candies I eat. Enstrom's is the best, you know, because
They don't sell it around here, though.
no, well, that's
I don't
because
see
it's made in Colorado. It started out in Grand Junction, where the original shop was in Grand Junction.
Right? And it was founded by my friend Rick's
Now,
grandfather,
What
Chet.
did you
Grandfather
say? A
Chet
number
Enstrom.
from what to what?
1 and
1
50.
to 50.
1 to
1 to
50.
50.
Not 57.
Because yeah.
Yeah, and not 69. That only
We
counts
have-
in certain
We only
things.
have 20 people here, so you guys got a great chance.
Yep.
I already won one time, so I don't double dip. Anybody get
Oh.
close, Art?
Well, he hadn't spun the wheel yet, have you?
Oh, you gotta spin the
Alrighty.
wheel?
Okay, everybody, the window is now closed. Let's go ahead and spin that wheel. And this time, I always share the audio, and we go. Unlike Jim, who forgets to do that.
I forget everything.
You're old.
And here we go. We got the wheel out. All right, let's go. Get ready and let's spin that wheel.
How you doing?
And the winner is number 34. Let's see who got
course it is.
34.
Oh, Chris had 38. Oh, there it is. Menendez. Is he the first one to have 34?
Well, I see 34. Let's go back
Yeah, he's the
and
first
check.
one I
Ooh,
see.
Michael Blade at 603.
Yeah. I was 44 and I was the second number up. Steve Mack was 20,
Oh, wait.
25, 24.
Menendez picked several numbers, though. Did anybody else get
Yeah, that's
34?
true. So Michael Blade, we will. Let's see who.
Did you state that you could only pick one number?
I mean, come
No,
on.
I
That's an
didn't, but
unwritten law.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was. I mean, that's the way I've always. So he would have. It would have been
Congrats,
Michael Blade
Michael
would be the
Blade.
closest. Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, because
all right, Michael Blade, you are the winner. I believe I have your address. You're in Rhode Island, so congratulations. Sorry, Mendez, you gotta pick one and only one number.
Mike did a
Sorry
great
for
job
that.
on that the state capitol building. The way they light it up in red, white, and blue there. I don't know if it was white, but he did a good job on that, Mike Blake.
that's all right. He was saying his bad. Yeah, and I never get picked, so don't feel. I've only won that toffee one time, and that was because Grant in Australia won it, and he told Art to send it to me. I've yet
It
to
cost
actually
more to mail
win.
the thing to me than it probably cost. It was like $5.50 to mail it to me. The one time.
I think it was $5, Jim.
Yeah. Oh no, I
a lot of
guarantee you
money.
that. Yeah, but that stuff's expensive, so it's. But it is. Like I said, I used to as a teenager, we used to ride our bikes before we had our driver's license. We'd all ride our bikes down there and watch them, on the weekends or during the
You
summer.
didn't
Watch them.
steal your neighbor's mini bike?
Oh, I had a mini bike, but I wasn't going to take it that far because from where I lived, it was a we rode the bicycle, because I lived up in an area called Orchard Mesa, which was about 10 miles from downtown Grand Junction. But we used to go down there on the weekends. We'd go to the movie. We'd stop over there and watch them making the candy right in the front window. And
Hey, look who's. Oh,
I got a frame, Lloyd, and I took the. In those days, we had the lawnmower, which had the vertical bar. You remember the lawnmowers with the motor on top?
Yeah.
And it would come out, so I used that motor, the Briggs and Stratton, for the mini bike motor.
Right.
And while I was on my paper route, God brought a clutch to me. It was laying in the driveway of somebody's house, and I said, "Thank you, Lord." Put it in my paper route sack, and
yeah. Well, I actually had a mini bike. It was an actual mini bike brand. It was sold by a store called Gamble's over there in Grand Junction. I think there was Gamble's in Denver too, if I remember right. It's an old store, but they sold. They were like Gibsons or Kmart's. They sold automotive supplies and just generally everything,
Right.
And my parents got that for me in Grand Junction.
Want to say hello to Chuck Kovacian Dronography all the way from Scotland. And then we've got Robert Stanton Rojo Droners and
wait a minute, Chuck
Michael
isn't from Scotland?
No, he's in Scotland. That's why I'm on here, because he's in Scotland right now.
Oh.
And then we got Mike Copper State Aerials and Chris Wedgeworth. Welcome to the show.
I got to say hello to Chris Wedgeworth, Bob Casey, Neil, Maddie. Maddie, I don't have your email. I wanted to email you on something, so I'll put my email in the chat because we need to talk about something.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Talking under my breath. All these notifications started popping up on my stupid computer, and I'm like, stop it.
Okay, that happens, yeah.
I did that the other night. And Matt got all ticked off because Lloyd, he was texting me in Facebook Messenger, And while I was showing something on the screen to StreamYards, the messenger message popped up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it was like I didn't want everybody to see it.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
he made
yeah.
such a stink that everybody's like, what? What?
Right.
Well, I mean, what was happening with me, because I have the StreamYard here, and then I have the chat popped out, so I can see the chat to the right, and but the notifications come right up on the chat while I'm trying to type something to somebody, and it just screws you up big time, pain in
Yeah.
the ass.
Well, I have a lot
Also,
of
I
my
want to
stuff
say
on
that,
monitor.
hey, if you like this stream, you're welcome to leave a super chat and help out this channel. That way I could get prizes such as the toffee, and then once in a while I give away cool prizes, and maybe
Yeah.
around the holidays, maybe I'll give away a tiny hawk or two. So
Yeah.
help out, throw a few bucks,
Oh,
and also become a member. I have Maddie's World. He's a member, and Uncle Bill, he's a member, and you could help out that way. So,
So I
and
gotta
also, Steve, you could put my PayPal. You could throw a few bucks in there. So, and that's my advertisement for the day. And there's my
that's what
PayPal.
well, it's just like when you watch a YouTube video, they put a commercial in there. I mean, you're entitled to your commercials, Art.
Yep.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
Metro Drones. Thank you very much. Let's see
was
if
just
I
gonna
can
say.
get it.
There you go.
Okay, here it goes.
It's Bill, isn't it? Isn't
Yeah.
Metro
Yeah.
Drones? Isn't that Bill?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Metro drones. Let's
And
see if
none
I
of
can get
my
mine to.
keys are working.
Let's see. Did mine work?
There we go. Oh, why did that one happen? No, that's
Holy crap! You need to narrow things down.
okay. Let's see if I can.
If you,
There we go.
Game?
Why is that one go?
it sounds like your shortcuts, you've got them crossed over, especially if you've got them in
There we
VHS.
go.
Yeah.
All right, let's try the cash. That's the wrong one too. Okay. This weekend I'm gonna get all my shortcuts
There we go.
Matt, I got
redone.
that if you want to take that down, buddy.
Yeah. So, anyways,
So,
thanks for the.
Thanks,
Art.
Bill.
Art, do you
Yes.
think you could?
Yes, sir.
Do you think you could play one of my earliest videos?
Yes, I could do that.
Okay, so
Are you? Let me see if you are blue. I think you're blue.
Oh no, I'm blue. I was hoping that you would find it, so I wouldn't have
Okay.
to.
All right. Let me.
The one I'm thinking about is Scooter Fire. Just see if you can search Scooter Fire on my channel.
Okay.
And I want to say, because Chuck said hi to me. Yes, Chuck, I'm just warming the seat for you till you can get back. Got to ask Chuck though, are you wearing a kilt yet? And are you going commando? And have you had haggis yet?
Hey,
Okay.
Jack Rabbit.
What season are they in? Do you know? Like, are they in winter or summer?
Well, they're the same as us because they're
They are?
northern. Yeah, yeah. They're probably closer to maybe Canadian because it's
Scotland?
It's yeah, Scotland is their temperatures are yeah. They get a lot colder than because they're in the North Atlantic and they're up at the top of the the
Out of
British
UK
Isle.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're north, no kilt. Okay. Sort of had haggis, no kilt. Well, you're going to have to get your kilt before you leave Scotland, and and then show it off for everybody here on Art Show when you get home.
Hey, Ed, what is that under? Is that in the playlist?
No.
Probably isn't. I'll try and find it.
You can put it in
Okay.
search.
Hey, Lon Denard, I want to say hello. Good to see you. And Jackrabbit, FPV, good to see you. And,
Love my drawings.
Scooter Fire, there's the link right there. Let me,
Okay, you got it?
Oh, got it?
I like this now. You can talk into the mic and have YouTube search for the channel.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... Scooter Fire, okay.
The only thing I don't like is they want us to now hook our YouTube up to our phone GPS. What do they call that? The two-step?
Yeah, two-step error.
I keep getting the warning every time I sign on. Do you have it, Art? I got it if you don't have it.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
All right.
That'd be great.
Let's share. And is the music cool to play? Is it okay to play the music on this one?
It's Benny Hill. I don't know. It's a Benny Hill thing. So.
Oh, it's what is
So
it?
I don't know as it's copyright status.
Is it
I'll
Yakety
keep
Sax?
going.
Is that what it is? Or yeah.
I got
Don't
it up,
play the
Art.
music because they'll.
I don't know. I didn't get a strike out of it when I put the video up, so I it's got to be okay.
What did the fuel line break or what?
There was a leak, on the little fuel pump thingy.
I think it's called Wackety Sack.
I had to spray fluid on it to get it to start.
I'm glad it wasn't carburetor cleaner.
Yeah, well, I ended up replacing the carburetor, but no, man, I was using okay, so the button on the handlebars quit working, okay?
Right.
But me being an electrician and the what's the word? Urban engineer that I am, I'm trying to make it politically correct.
Yeah.
Realized that I could jump off the battery into the solenoid for the starter motor that was right next to the carburetor.
Right.
That I could bypass the switch and make the starter turn over. So anyway, and I was smart enough to know that, okay, when you twist the gas knob and all that until the motor started, gas kind of comes out, leaks around. So, but one day I went to jump it off to start it, and I touched the battery before I touched the solenoid. So when I touched the solenoid and the gas was all there, the starter fluid was there, and
It just
a little spark bang and poof, the fire was on.
Yeah, I learned something along that same line back in when I was in the military, and except I had a Plymouth Duster, and
Oh,
it
I
had
like that.
yeah, and it had the 6-pack carburetors on it, three two barrels. That thing, because it had, somebody put a race engine in it. I bought it from them, and
Oh, wow.
and it was really nice, but it flooded so easy. Well, this particular day, I was really frustrated, and I was wanting to get the hell away from where I was at. I tried starting it up, and it wouldn't start. So, I remember back in my past somewhere that you could strike a match to the carburetor and burn off that excess fuel. Well, the reason that I thought that was because I had been drinking a little bit. I was on my second bottle of Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill.
There you go.
Oh God, I probably had my share of that.
And I sat there and I got out the old Zippo lighter, and I stuck it down there right on that carburetor, which was completely flooded, fumes pouring out of it, and a fireball comes out of it. I jump back. Well, again, you know that the best way to stop a fire like that is to smother it out. And so in my Strawberry Hill fueled brain, I thought, best way to smother this out, shut the lid or shut the hood. So I slammed the hood down. The problem was it locked shut. And then everything caught on fire, and they couldn't get to the hood to put the fire out because everybody come running out seeing this huge. Well, anyway, so I sold that car for scrap metal.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Boone's Farm and cigarette lighters and gasoline do not mix. I'm just saying. And that was the last time I ever drank Boone's Farm Strawberry. That's the last time I ever drank Boone's Farm, period. But yeah, it was Strawberry Hill, and but that's when you learn from your mistakes, and it was definitely, yeah. And I was afoot for a while too, because I couldn't afford to get me another car because I was in between wives at the time. Yeah, the Duster was dusted. That's right. Yeah, I was in between one and two.
We're gonna do a Bob Casey premiere.
Okay.
With his
Let's go ahead and let's do it.
I don't know if the music is okay, so I'm not going to play it.
Okay.
I got a copyright strike again this week. YouTube love copyright claim.
Yeah, I got one of those for. I think it was some music that on one of the videos I played.
Oh, so he's using the spotlight feature. That's instead of the tracking, he's on spotlight. What'd you get that up to, Bob? By the way, speed wise, how good would it follow you?
Holding your FPV drone and radio at the same time don't mix. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Watch out for that tree, George.
Oh.
There we go.
I wonder if he's, Art, because you don't have side sensors. I wonder if he straightened it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Plus, this was back in the 70s, and they didn't pay as well as they do now in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Do they still make that Boone's Farm? Strawberry Hill, right?
Yeah, I think they still make Strawberry Hill. I think that's the only one of them they still make,
I can't remember the last time I saw, not that I look at wine. I really don't do the wine thing, but it was Strawberry Hill. Boone's Farm was another one.
Yeah.
Well,
did
Boone's
you ever
Farm,
have any Mad Dog 2020, Lloyd?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I've had Mad Dog 2020.
About Everclear.
I've had Everclear.
Oh, man. I had a blackout on Everclear, okay?
I think I drank, when I got out of the service, I was getting ready to marry my second wife, and
getting ready.
Yeah, well, a week later we got married, and she was stationed out, and I hadn't got out of the service yet, but I was being transferred out to where she was at, and I was supposed to drive out there. I was supposed to take her nephew with me and bring him out there, And my buddies, because I was soon to be getting out, they decided to throw me a party, or throw a going away party, and they made punch with Everclear.
Oh boy.
I woke up late the next morning. The kid was dropped off on my porch. They had beaten on the door. I wasn't ready to go. I had to throw everything in the back of the station wagon, jump in this thing with the worst hangover, and drive from Arizona to California, to Victorville, California, which is a high desert, right through
Victorville. Look at the prison.
yeah,
there.
right. Yeah, exactly. And oh my God, that Everclear. So that's 2 times that I got drunk on something I've never had since. I've never had Everclear since that time, and I've never had that Strawberry Hill since I burned up my duster. So
Well, try some
1978.
Rumple Mints.
That Mad Dog 2020 was like Idaria back in those days. It was the cheap stuff.
I was into Rumple Mints, 100 proof peppermint schnapps.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
yes.
Oh boy, those are the
Oh,
worst
man.
hangovers.
I don't even. That's so long ago.
Yeah.
The funny thing about me drinking the Boone's Farm is, because he put up there, Boone's Farm was for the girls while we drank Guinness Creek. I usually drank Jack Daniels, and
Yeah.
that was my liquor of choice, was Jack Daniels, and I drank it. I drank at least a quart a day, if not more. And
I drank 99-cent
Wow, a
Canadian
quart a
Ace
day is a
beer.
lot, Lloyd. That's a lot.
It was
a quart
that was
a
a
day.
lot,
of
yeah.
Jack.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
and I drank at least a quart a day, and every day, 7 days a week. And of course, I don't drink now, and I haven't drank in coming up on 38 years in
Wow,
January.
good for you.
Everclear is $95 a bottle.
Oh my God! But and the reason I drank I drank the Boone's Farm is because it was cheap and it was handy, and I could go into a convenience store and pick it up, and I was in the mood to get drunk that day.
Oh yeah, Mad Dog was cheap. That's why I said we drink that and Canadian Ace 99 cents. Used to get a gallon of it. It's a beer.
Yeah.
Hey,
and the
mister,
thing is,
can you buy me a beer out in front of 7-Eleven?
do you know who actually makes Mad Dog 2020?
Morgan David.
That's right. Because it's been given the name Mad Dog, but it's MD 2020, which stands for Mogan David. And I remember as a kid, my dad used to. Mogan David is the winemakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good for you, Michael.
Good.
Last year for Christmas, my niece made me a bottle of Lemoncillo. You don't know what that is? That's Everclear that has lemon juice in it, and I think it's cut with something else, probably a little bit of water to bring down the alcohol content. But it's not something you guzzle. You sip it. But boy, that'll give you a nice buzz after a little bit of that.
Well, I haven't touched, like I said, I will once in a while with Judy, because she'll drink some sweet red wine, and we're talking, she drinks in a
like a shot glass.
Shot glass, and that's the only time I'll ever have any, and I'll only have one of those, and maybe once every 3 months. But I have not drank hard liquor in, like I said, 38 years. And
I haven't had anything since 2000. But that's a lot less shorter than your period.
When Judy and I first got married, I drank. Yeah, I don't even drink beer now. I quit drinking everything except I'll have that cordial glass, about half full of some of the sweet red wine. But yeah, I don't miss it. I don't. First 5 or 10 years, it's like all my cousins got drunk and I had to stand there and look at them be sober. Then I found out how entertaining it was to see what kind of idiots they were while I got to be sober. It's like, and I got to see them with the hangovers, and I New Year's Eve parties were great because I could enjoy the party. Oh God, yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the deal, okay? I just because of genetics, I have a propensity towards alcoholism. My
Yeah.
dad
Yeah.
was one, his dad was one, whatever. And I mean,
Right.
in my
Right.
teenage years, you know, and up until I was like, I don't know, 22, 23, whatever. I mean, we were doing 151, you know, and you know how it goes. I mean, you make a responsible drink the first time, you know, vodka and some orange juice or rum and some orange juice, you know. And after you have one, the next one you make, you add a little bit more to it.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
before you know it, you're just adding mixture for a little bit of color. That's that's or else you're taking it neat, you know. Is that what they
Yeah.
call it, neat? When it's just
Yep.
just
I started drinking Jack and Coke, and then pretty soon decided I really didn't like Coke.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
Yeah. And before I knew it, I was, you know, when I was just before I got out of the service, man, I put myself into rehab for well, I went through rehab program just to get shy of that, and then I went back to it again, and then finally after marrying Judy, and she's which was 40 years ago this last July. You know, it was my third marriage, and if
Third
you know, it's
marriage.
yeah,
My
yeah.
God,
It was
I did that once and said never again.
oh,
well.
here's
This
the
is
thing, Jim. Okay, I know this guy that it took him four before he found the right one. You know what I mean? And
Well,
I
she
mean, I've
wanted.
heard Lloyd talk about his three, and then I was thinking the
yeah,
same thing. I might have even said this to you once, Lloyd, or somewhere along the line, not that you would remember, but I actually mentioned about the guy. He went through three, and it was number
yeah,
four that was the lucky charm.
No,
yeah.
it took me
Well,
one time. They said you got to sell your property and give her half the money, and
Yeah,
I said, get that. That's never happening again. You're out of
well,
your mind.
yeah, I
my
hear you, man.
Well,
my
I've been lucky. I've only had two engagements, and that's where it ended.
well, I got married in high school the first time. Was married for 4 years. Had two kids out of that. Uh, the second marriage, we were married 18 months, and it wasn't until I sobered up I realized she was the ugliest damn woman I'd ever seen in my life, and wondered what the hell was I marrying her for. But I was drunk. You know, when I got
Mhm.
sober, it's like, oh my God, what the hell did I marry?
Hey,
You
as
know,
long as they do the
and
dishes, wash the clothes, clean
yeah,
the place,
well,
I'm happy.
and
Otherwise,
unfortunately, both my first two wives was hoes, and they were the village bike. Everybody rode them. So, uh,
Oh,
and you know, I wasn't putting up with that, and so I moved out here, and I'd known Judy since I was 6 years old, and uh, but she'd been married, and this was a third marriage for both of us, and we've now gone over 40 years. So, you know, so I adopted her kids, and we couldn't be happier, you know, and I don't have any complaints. But 2 years into the marriage, she had a big complaint. It was on a New Year's Eve. I made a total ass of myself, and she said, "I didn't marry a damn drunk. You will get sober, or we will get divorced as soon as the courthouse opens up. I'll hire a lawyer, and that will be that."
what's that going to
I said,
cost me?
"Okay." Yeah, so I thought I'd already been married twice before, so you know, and I really liked Judy. So my first two wives, I could take or leave, you know, especially my second
All
one.
right, I
It's
got to
just,
jump out, man. Thanks for having me.
all right. Well, thanks for coming in, Jim. Great
Appreciate it,
having you.
guys.
It is, Jim.
Ed, we'll talk.
and that is take care, Jim. And that just ended the days of our lives portion of this show.
Yeah, that's the alcohol portion, the AA
Alcohol,
portion
yeah,
of
our
our show.
AA, Alcoholics
Hmm.
Anonymous, or
Hmm.
Anonymous Alcoholics, whichever you want to be.
Well, we're waiting for James of My PI Dream. Hopefully he's watching. I've been watching his latest build where he's been building a pavilion in his yard, and right now they're just finishing up the pouring of the cement. Where that's coming along, and then after that's dried, then they'll be putting up the frame and getting the woodworks up, which will be nice. And from what I understand, he's going to put a little tiki bar out there, which will be
That
nice.
sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice having Jim on here.
So anyway, Lloyd, I decided in my early years that knowing my propensity to consume massive amounts of alcohol, if it was in liquid state, I'm just like, okay, from now on, I'm just drinking beer.
Yeah.
Because a little guy, I mean, like beer is like self-regulating in that there's so much alcohol in it and it has so much volume. You know, and you can
Right.
only get so much alcohol per volume in it. So it was like, for me, that's like, because I like to drink whatever. You know, when I didn't have any money and I couldn't buy any beer, all I could drink was water. I was still drinking water like I was drinking a beer.
Yeah. Well,
There we go.
and
And,
Yeah,
and you know, so the beer was like kind of self-regulating. Whereas when it's liquor in a bottle, man, I mean, like, you can drink that stuff straight.
Right.
And if you drink that like water, you're going to be hammered and you're going to feel like hell the next day.
Mhm.
oh yeah, well, my problem was in the military is when I lived in the barracks, I actually ran a bar out of my room.
That's pretty cool.
Problem was I was the best customer.
Oh, well, that is a problem, yeah.
You know,
But
that
the thing
created
is,
a problem.
man, I mean, I get it with the guys over there, you know.
Yeah.
You're serving your country and all that, and you just want to cut loose, you know, but it's not like you can do it all day long. That's not going to work.
Yeah, well, I managed to get that quart in when I was at my worst, and you know, this is Jack Daniels, and I was in the service. If I didn't have a shot before I went out on the flight line in the morning before I went to roll call, if I didn't have it shot by 10 o'clock, I was having to take a morning break and go back over because I was getting the shakes,
The shape.
which is
Well,
not good
I
when
mean,
you're
I
loaded.
must
I loaded-
admit, I've never been to that point. I know my dad did, but that's tough. I can't
I loaded
imagine.
bombs. Having the shakes when you load bombs is not a good thing.
No, it is not.
Well, yeah, either that or you get bombed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know, I mean, and then of
Sounds
course
like
now,
a quick way to. It sounds like a quick way to go, though.
Yeah. The biggest problem I ever really worried about though was not them exploding, but not getting them locked into place. Those 500 pounders or 2,000 pounders or whatever. You don't get them locked in place, and you walk under one and they fall on you. Well, that'd be But
Yeah, that'll ruin your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyways, but I don't have a problem with people doing whatever they do as long as they're not harming themselves or others. I don't really, I just know for me, because I'm like you, Ed. I had a father who was an alcoholic. I had brothers, cousins, all of them, alcoholics. My brother has been sober for, I think he's going on 30 years now.
That's good.
So he finally came to that conclusion, and then you get, I have multiple sclerosis, so I got enough of a balance problem without me getting drunk,
don't
Well,
know.
and I worked in entertainment for 25 years, and I understand how those entertainers can get addicted to drugs or alcohol because you have a
Absolutely.
lot of downtime. And if you're
Yeah.
not driving to your next gig, you're in your hotel all by yourself and you're trying to. And this is before computers were a thing, you
Right.
know? And you either watch TV, read, or go to some attraction. Like in Memphis, you go to Graceland Mansion, or if you're in Savannah, you go to Tybee Island, you go to Fort Pulaski, which that was cool. But man, some of these places you get with the other comedians and you're starting to pound down the drinks, and next
Yeah.
thing you know, the next morning it's time to get up to do a morning show on the radio, and you're hungover. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The art, the entertainment industry is definitely. I don't know. I have no experience with it, whatever. But I just can envision what it's like in a way, and what you just said illustrates that even more so.
Yeah.
I mean, like I consider myself a gray electrician, whatever. Been put in a lot of high stress positions,
Hmm.
dangerous positions at times, but none of that would be as scary. None of that is as scary to me as to what people like you that were in the entertainment industry, the stuff that they were going through. You know,
Right.
the nerves and whatever, and let me take something to calm my nerves or whatever. You know, and
Hmm.
one of the things I say about even when I fly, I mean, there's like Carlos and other people. Man, you go out and fly and you're like drinking a beer and whatever, and I'm like, it takes the edge off, you
Hmm.
know. And so I could see how. I mean, the stress of going out there and trying to be entertaining and have the audience react, and oh, and
Hmm.
God, if you suck, I mean, that's got to really suck, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't
Well, yeah.
know. I could never do that. I mean, the
Hmm.
most out there I've been has been on YouTube.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because I'm kind of an introverted person. I've been shy all my life. And I don't even know how I broke the barrier to do the YouTubes and the lives and the stuff like that. But this is my way of reaching out to the world.
Hmm.
For you doing that, getting up on the stage, I mean, I've done that, and I'm a Mormon, so they kind of get you up on the stage at times and to give a talk or whatever. A
Yeah.
couple times I thought I was going to pass out, man. I mean, just literally pass out. To go in front of an audience and try and entertain them,
Hmm.
that's balls, man. I mean, I couldn't do that.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the biggest high for me was getting those laughs. And, there have been times where, you just couldn't buy a laugh because
Yeah.
maybe the audience, maybe it was too hot, and maybe they're tired, and they've been out in the sun or something. And then by the time the headliner gets up, they're already had a few drinks and they've, feeling better, and they're loosened up. So my job as the opening act wasn't to, be killer all the time, but to kind of set the mood and the
Set the
pace
mood and get the
for the
audience going.
next
Yeah.
comic. The feature kind of gets them going and gets some momentum for the headliner.
Right. Well, I didn't do stand up, obviously. You can tell by my jokes. And but I was in a band, and we played. I started in high school playing, and I don't mean high school band. We played in a country band. I played in a country band in high school, and then I ended up being in a band for about 5 years here in Muskogee. And it was bluegrass and folk, which it has a very limited appeal to people. So and a lot of times we played at nursing homes, and boy, you talk about a tough crowd. If they were pissed off if they missed Jeopardy, or if they or they were being
Matlock.
rushed. Yeah, or Matlock, or they were being rushed, and they didn't get to eat their Jello pudding before they got their pudding before their lime green Jello. Yeah, that's a rough crowd, man. We did a show, and I'm telling you what, we got banned from playing at this place. They didn't hire us for 2 years because I was sort of I was the comic relief. Okay, I was the wiseacre, and every bluegrass band has that kind of idiot, and I was. So me and the bass player, we both traded off, and we were always pulling some stunt or another, And a lot of times they'd forget to turn our mics on, and we'd have to hey, you didn't turn our mics on. And I was the rhythm guitar player, but I was the bass singer. And so I did the bass line singing, and he was the bass player, and he sang the tenor harmony. So we kind of reversed our voices were reversed of what we played. And so they tended to forget to turn my mic on a lot. Well, we were playing at this one nursing home when it was on break, and one of our dobro player, a slide guitar player, she'd had a lady thing done that day, and she wasn't feeling good, but her husband was the fiddle player, and so she came to the show, and she was sitting out in the front row, and she wasn't feeling good. And we have a nursing home here, a funeral home called Bradley's. Well, we were at this retirement center, and oh my God, these old people they were not reacting. And I turned and I said to Sam, the guy that was with me, I said, Sam, I think we'd get a better reaction if we'd done this live at Bradley's rather than here. I thought my mic was shut off.
Oh.
It was hot. And she's sitting there going, and I go, what? And all of a sudden, the lead guy, he looks over at me and says, mic is hot. Oh, what was even worse is the activities director at that particular place was watching. So she heard this comment. And her father owned Bradley's funeral home.
Oh.
So we didn't get asked back to that place for 2 years. They didn't ask us.
Man. Oh, that's bad.
And this wasn't a nursing home. This was actually a retirement village. So it was, but it's oh, so yeah, you have those moments. They did not see the humor in it. I thought it was funny as hell, actually.
All right, everybody. Let's welcome all the way from the Philippines. Hey, Lipa City. Let's welcome James. My PI Dream, all the way from his basement in Lipa City.
Hey,
welcome,
good morning.
Welcome. Good to see you, Jim.
Good morning. Magandang umaga. How is everybody today?
Doing
pretty
good.
good.
You came here to save the show.
Lloyd,
You look like somebody I know, but I can't know you. But
well,
you're like a
You-
freaking twin from nowhere or something.
Ed, I get that. I get that all the time. Someone says, I know you, but I don't know. Maybe I have lots of twins around the world. Maybe that's
A
what it is.
I
doppelganger
think
somewhere.
you
Yeah.
must. I think
Yeah,
you must.
those movies. Did you ever see those movies? Where there's a doctor that works in, and he goes in and he manufactures from his own creation clones of himself all over the place. Well, maybe
Yeah. Maybe that's
he's
it.
one of
You
those.
gotta. Yeah.
Maybe it's Lloyd. You get around. You get around more than STDs these days, man. I see you everywhere.
Yeah, I seem to be getting. Well, I stepped in to fill Chuck's seat for tonight. I was supposed to have done it last week. Judy had a last minute health issue come up, and I had to take care of her that night, so I didn't get to come in. But yeah, I'm on Art's show on Sunday afternoons. I do Mel's show on Sunday nights. I help out. Last night I was just supposed to be in the background. I was on Greg's show.
Yeah.
John bailed at the last minute while my system was crashing, mind you. It was just, and I get in there just as the show started. I'm sitting there, everything went wrong, but we managed to make it. So yeah, I do get around.
Yes, you do.
That's why I'm not normally on this show, because this is the one night that I don't do any YouTube. But Art was, I didn't want to leave him hanging this time. So until you could get in here, and so.
Well, don't leave. Don't bail just because I jumped inside here.
Oh no! I'm going to be. I may have to bail here in a little bit, but I won't bail just because you got on. But you usually do a good job of carrying the show, so I don't have to worry about that.
No, I enjoy this. This is like the highlight of my week when I can get in with Art and whoever his co-panelists and co-hosts and everything is inside here. I look forward to this every week because it gives me an opportunity to break away from the routine. And the routine, I don't know. Let's see if I can kind of turn. I got the laptop is actually hooked up to the headset and the microphone. I'm going to try to turn this around. You can see what my basement looks like now. My garage. It's like you really can't. You can't really have an appreciation unless you actually get. You have to look and see what's way over there by the workbench and everything like that. But it's stacked. This stacks up to it's about 3 foot high of all the lumber, all the timber and everything that I'm milling here for that pavilion project. Now I know Art follows the channel here religiously. He knows more about the facts about the channel from months and years ago than I even remember about the channel. But we got the pavilion project going on right here, and we're doing everything from raw lumber. As a matter of fact, they cut a lot of the lumber right from across the street from our neighbor's lot because they had to clear it because they're getting the 2 Canadians are building houses directly across the street. And I think I don't know. Let me look real quick.
You talk kind of fast.
Oh, okay. I will talk a little bit slow. You know what? I'm actually
the South, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta tell you. Let me tell you, Ed. I am right in the middle. I'm split in the middle. I was born in New York. My mother's family are Yankees, but my father's from South Carolina, from a really, really small, probably one of the smallest towns in South Carolina, a place called Johnsonville, South Carolina. And it's a battle. I have an internal battle inside from either talking like somebody from the Queens or talking from somebody like from Johnsonville, South Carolina. So it's a constant battle, and my dialogue changes depending on where. If I'm in with a bunch of Southerners, I start talking like a bunch of Southerners. That's the way I start talking with everybody. And when I'm with the guys up in New York, I start talking like a Yankee up there. Well, not really. I don't.
I grew up in Colorado, in Denver and Grand Junction. So I had that nondescript Midwest type accent. But I've lived here for 40 years, and my wife, she's from the South, and oh my God, my father-in-law was a hillbilly, and depending on who I'm around, sometimes my drawl gets really bad.
There you go. Well, you sound like you're from Texas or something like that,
Yeah, well, we're close enough.
Yeah. So anyway, this is I just shared this with Art, and this is the construction. This is actually quite a while back. This is about a week about a week, maybe a little over a
Oh.
week ago. You have this company that's building. This is actually 2 lots right here, where the Baje Cubo is. If you see the wood, the cocoa lumber wood to the left, standing up, which kind of is like the border of what is going to be the house that's over there. That's Stillman, who comes inside. He's probably watching today's episode in the background, just being quiet. But that's his lot to the left, and that'll be the first house that's going to be built. He's from Canada, and where the Baje Cubo is sitting right there right now, that's actually another Canadian. He's actually originally Filipino. He left the Philippines when he was 15. His name is Steve, and he's going to be building within months after, just still finalizing on the plan for that house. So we're going to have 2 constructions going on about the same time. So it's going to be really noisy around here for a while. But the good thing about it is the company that's building these 2 houses right here, he has a very efficient and organized organization for people. And they normally build a house. I think their average house is like 7 to 9 months. They can build the entire thing. So they'll get these projects done pretty quick. Remember, when I say 7 to 9 months, it's not like in the U.S. When we build a stick house out of 2x4 pine lumber, and you can finish a house like in 2 to 3 months. It's not like everything is concrete, steel reinforcement, and everything is different. That's why it takes a little bit longer. So I just wanted to share with you what it now looks like across the street from us here, and I think because I like doing show and tell. And Chuck, normally when Chuck's hosting and Lloyd's not co-hosting here, when Chuck is always he has a running bet on whether we're having waffles or pancakes or what the meal is this morning. But and normally
what did you have this morning?
Well, normally out of 52 weeks, we probably have about 48 weeks of waffles, and then there will be every once in a while we'll have pancakes. But this morning we're honored to have our family. We have our family here this morning. So if you live in the Philippines, and if Greg is watching from down under, if Greg's watching, he knows what the breakfasts are around here. So you have to really make Filipino kind of food. So let me see if I can find. I'm gonna stop sharing that one, and you guys can guess what what my family had this morning. Let's see.
Let me guess. It's
take a guess.
Rice and eggs.
Well,
and little hot dogs.
Well, let me show you what we had this morning, which is one of my favorites. If I got to have, this is you see on my plate that looks like a biscuit, like one of those down home southern. Oh, that's not a biscuit. That's called pandesal. It's much lighter than the biscuits that we have in South Carolina. It's very light.
Right.
It's almost like bread. It's like bread.
I was going to say, it looks like a yeast roll or something we'd have.
Yeah. Here. And what happens is every morning in the Philippines, there's a pandesal guy that comes through all the barangays here, which are the little towns. He'll ride a bicycle or a little scooter, motorcycle, and he has freshly baked. They get up early in the morning. They get up like at 3 a.m. They make this, and they drive throughout the community. And he has his little honking horn inside that he'll beep the horn, and you run out to the street and you meet him. And you'll get the fresh pandesal. Now this, my nephew Miguel graciously went just outside of the barangay here, and he picked this up at the store. And what you see to the left, those little things that look like egg rolls or something like that, those aren't egg rolls. That's actually a delicacy here. No, it's actually cassava. I forgot what the name of it, what the name of the actual thing. And cassava is a root. It's a plant. And they take the root and they make stuff like desserts and pastries with it. And this is a if Ness were down here, she could explain to you what that is. But it's a cassava. It's a cassava, and the cassava has a unique taste. That's definitely the taste of cassava. And then to the right of that is pancit. We had
I've had that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, and again, pancit can be eaten any time of day. Can be eaten for breakfast, and a lot of times Ness she has rice, but she said you have to show them this. So I have to show you one more of the breakfast. I have to show you one more. She said you have to show them this because a lot of people don't know what we do in the Philippines with regard to how we eat our food here, and she held this up. is this? Did I give you the right one? I think I did. Yeah. Did you get it? Oh, so you see what she has in her hand? She has the pound of salt. You know how we do Dunkin' Donuts and we dunk our donut inside the coffee or milk?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
they dunk the Panasol inside the coffee, just like that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's my wonderful family who are visiting right now. They're actually upstairs. They're probably watching it. We got you on the big screen upstairs, so they're probably watching you guys up there. But she wanted me to mention something again. Greg Kunert will know since he's been in the Philippines a lot. They do this other thing, like you were talking about rice. Somebody said you probably have rice this morning. Well, they will have rice, and what they'll do, they'll put the rice on the plate, and then what they'll do, they'll take their coffee and they'll pour the coffee over the rice in the plate inside there, and that's how they'll eat their rice inside the morning. Yeah, I know. For us North Americans, our Americans, it's kind of weird, but I just haven't. Usually, I will try anything. I still haven't brought myself to eat the coffee on the rice in the morning thing yet. Maybe one day. I was brave. I was brave enough to try balut, so I should be brave enough to be able to.
Okay, I can eat Spam. I can eat Vegemite. I can eat.
I love Spam.
Potted meat. I can eat potted meat.
Yeah,
but I'm not too sure I could do coffee and rice. That just doesn't sound right to me.
Oh, and the rice they eat is that sticky rice, not the kind of rice we eat over here.
Right. Yeah, it's the like gumbo type rice. Yeah.
Well, we both consume us as Americans. We both consume rice, the Asians and the Americans, but we eat it in a different style and different type of preparation. We eat ours, and since we're all pretty much here except for Art from the South. We know we have rice and gravy. We always have some kind of gravy, whether it be brown gravy or chicken gravy or something. We always you would never serve somebody from the South a plate with rice and nothing on top of the rice. You would never do that. But that's common. Yeah. That's common here because the rice is eaten with whatever meat that you have. And you were talking about something like hash. Like corned beef hash. Well, they do that.
Potted meat. Yeah.
Potted meat.
Yeah. Potted meat. Yeah. Which is basically just, it's a canned meat. They call it's a spread, it's a pork and chicken and, whatever ground up, whatever I think is what they sweep up off the butcher's floors and they grind it real fine. It's a pate.
Well, for us in Carolina, that's the poor man's steak. Yeah, that's what we had, and I think that's why it's so popular in the Philippines is because it's inexpensive.
Spam? Yeah.
Well, both spam and hash, like corned beef hash.
Corned beef hash. My wife loves corned beef hash.
So what they do in the morning for breakfast, they will fry up rice. And they will add garlic to it, and they will add the corned beef hash to it. They will mix it all together, and that will be. And then my wife even pours the coffee over that. When she does that, but
you had me until you mentioned the coffee. That's just ruining a good cup of coffee. I'm telling you, it just ruins a great cup of coffee.
Other than the coffee portion of it, it's actually pretty tasty. I like anything with garlic. Yeah, anything with garlic.
Yeah.
And she adds that to it, and it makes for a really good breakfast. I've kind of adapted to just about anything except for I haven't done the coffee, and they do a meal over here that they make with pig blood. It's got a lot of pig blood inside there, and that's another thing I still can't get used to. She loves it. That's my family love it. I can't.
Well, I grew up in Colorado, but my dad was from Arkansas, Oklahoma area, so some of these foods I had, and especially when we get around kinfolk. But then when I moved here, it's stuff they were eating down here compared to what I had, and of course I lived out in California and Arizona, or out in Arizona, California for a long time too. So I was used to the Southwest stuff, but boy, some of the stuff they ate around here is like, oh my God, what are you guys eating? And then but there's still certain things I'm not going to eat, like, I don't eat chitlins. Sorry.
No, I don't like. And they do. and chitlin, they have something similar because it's just it's the intestines and stuff.
Yeah.
And they do that. That's really popular over here too. They don't call it
Right.
chitlins. I don't know what the name of what they call it, but
Yeah.
it's really popular.
Well, they have
they
chitlins
waste
and cracklins, which are the fried innards, And now, of course, my first wife, she was Mexican. So, and we went down to Mexico a lot. So I ate some of the stuff you were talking about was very similar. Getting the bread fresh in the morning, or the tortilla guy would come around and they'd buy stacks of those tortillas, already made, and or we'd get my favorite was pan dulce, which was a sweet bread. It had a crust over the top of it of looked like sugar, and it was just baked into it, and so. But I also had, menudo, which is
Right.
it's the guts, yeah. It's the innards, but it's cooked in a soup, and it's like it slithers on its way down. So it's just
Yeah. It's kind of like chewing on a grocery bag, only it doesn't get smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, I've had they had a thing that they had whale. And it was in the soup as whale. It was just chunks of whale meat. And this is down in Guaymas, down on the coast down there in Mexico. And now that stuff was hard to choke down because that was like chewing on a rubber eraser. And
that's what I was just about to ask you about whale, because when you think of whale, it's in your mind it's synonymous with blubber, the fat and
Yep.
I've never heard anybody eating whale meat before, but I guess it's a thing.
Well, this was back in the 70s. Things were a little bit more than that,
I bet it tastes like chicken.
God bless all the tree huggers. We don't eat whale now.
Well, I think if you've seen old videos and documentaries about Alaska, the Eskimos, and I think that was that they chewed on the whale blubber, and that enabled them to keep the fat content inside their body to help them survive the cold the winters and all.
Yeah, well,
up there.
Having this cooked, the worst thing I ever saw was I got up one morning. We were staying in this minister's house down there as guests, and we're getting up. They're getting ready to do this big feast that day, and they were having some sort of big soup and everything. And I walk out there, and there'd been something left out on the front porch by the butcher, and so they went out and got it, and they unwrapped this thing. And just like walking in the room, they were picking this thing up, and they were shaking it out like it was a blanket. It was a cow's stomach. A cow's stomach. And they were fixing to cut that up and put it into a soup. Yeah, it's but I ate it. I of course I was younger then. I wasn't, I was going to give it first off, I wasn't going to let them make fun of me for being an American, down there not eating their food. It wasn't going to happen, but there were a few things there I had trouble choking down, I got to admit,
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to you have to fess up that there are some things that you can't deal with. Because I've been all. I think I heard you say earlier you're retired Air Force. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. I'm also a retired Air Force.
I knew you was Air Force. Yeah, I knew you were a veteran too. Yeah, and thank you for your service too.
And one of the things about traveling, that's a unique benefit of being a military member and having the opportunity to be in all the different countries around the world.
Yes.
If you have the opportunity to expand your palate, we'll say your palate, you get to taste all the different things, and you're not isolated to one specific type of food. Like I got to tell you, the Philippines, when you think about what the diet is of here, there's really what most people eat is only about 5 different things. And if you go to to the fiestas here and you visit everybody's house, anytime you're invited to somebody's house, you can always assure 4 out of those 5 things will always be on the table 100% of the time over here. But the opportunity and what happens is sometimes, and even my family who are upstairs, and they're probably going to be laughing about this right now, sometimes when we introduce some of these what we would consider as Americans, what we would consider as real delicacies and food, like, well, different genres of food, like, Italian food, different types of pastas, or the different thing, even Thai food, even Asian food, other Asian foods. They're like, I don't want to touch that. It's in their mind. It's a mental kind of a thing. I'm not really interested in eating that, and I don't want to mess with that. It's a psychological kind of a thing. There's a very limited type of food that they have over here.
Yeah,
I'm lucky.
yeah.
I'm so lucky, and I'm really fortunate. My wife, she loves to cook. If you marry somebody, find somebody who loves to cook, and she loves to cook, and she cooks really well, and she tries anything. She's always experimenting. She downloads all these recipes from all these websites and everything like that. So for me, almost every night that I sit down at the table, it's like I'm sitting at a gourmet restaurant, because she knows.
Right. Yeah.
I think I'm not a chef, but I think the people who are professional chefs and have done it for a long period of time, they know exactly what spices complement different kind of foods, and she's mastered that. She's mastered that. So I'm really fortunate that she enjoys
my
that.
situation is I do all the cooking now, so I've had to expand on certain things and learn how to do certain things, because my wife did all the cooking for years until her health declined, and then she has Parkinson, and of course now she's had her second stroke. So,
sorry.
So
what's your go-to meal, Lloyd?
It's hard to say, but I think one of my favorite meals to cook is lasagna. And of course I cook it, I boil the pasta, I do the whole thing. And I usually cook a big plate of it and then put it, half of it in the freezer, and then we can cut it, I cut it up in squares, and we can heat it back up in the microwave, and it's always good, so, but I'd say, but with Judy, it's, one of the things that's happened over the years between the Parkinson's and the strokes is her taste buds change. And I don't know from one moment to the next what she's going to be in the mood for. So I'll stock up on a lot of stuff, and then I end up having to throw part of it out, or it's in the freezer and it's expired, because suddenly from that week to a month down the road, her taste buds change, and I'll
tell you this right now. I mean, one thing I've noticed is that my taste is not what it used to be at all. It's like, I'll feel hungry, but when I eat the food, it's just it's a manual thing. I'll feel the spice a little bit, but I'm not enjoying it. You know what I mean? Taste isn't there. And I was so low on money. I smoke, and they say
right.
It
changes the taste buds too.
That smoking takes away your sense of taste, but I had never noticed that until this happened, and then I ran out of money. I didn't have a cigarette for a week, but the flavor still didn't come back, and it's just different.
And that's probably related to the stroke. I got to tell you, one of my favorite meals that Judy ever made for me, and I'm going to tell you what it was called. Whenever I said I wanted it, I say, Judy, would you fix me some crud? And crud is a unique dish of her own. It's a poor man's meal. When we first got married, we didn't have a lot of money, and I had 3 kids and no money, and I was paying child support to previous experiment in life that was, anyways, I've already gone down that road today. But anyways, what she would do is she'd get a can of pork and beans, she'd get a pound of hamburger, get some chili seasoning, a can of corn, and some barbecue sauce. So she'd fry up the hamburger with the taco seasoning or chili seasoning on it, get that good and spicy, and then she would start heating it up, and she'd take a can of corn, drain it really good, dump the corn in there, dump the pork and beans in there, and then coat it with a light coating and stir it all up. And the first time we had it, I looked at that and I said, oh, so this is Judy's crud surprise. And from that point on, the kids always called it crud. And that's when and we still eat it occasionally, but it was just the right flavor combination of stuff, and it was a one-pan meal because you dumped everything in one pan,
No, no, look, I totally get that. And my mom, she used to make this dish, and we named it, I think the kids named it that. I'm not sure which one of us, me, my sister, or my brother, came up with a name. It wouldn't have been my brother. I think it was me. But it always looked disgusting. But what it was basically scrambled eggs and leftovers from the night before all mixed together. And it got entitled Upchuck Surprise, because that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody had eaten a meal and then thrown up. But it was delicious. Oh, yeah, cheese was involved in there. Cheese was involved.
You got to have the cheese. Yeah.
But, I mean, dude,
especially in the South, they
horrible,
put cheese on everything.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is why the women like to cook, because we come up with these weird ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky, James, that your wife cooks.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
It's like lasagna. I think it goes for lasagna and spaghetti and stuff. A lot of times it's better the day after the leftovers.
Yeah. I was gonna
flavors have mingled or whatever.
Yeah.
Lasagna is always better the second day.
Same with pot roast or stew.
Mm.
There's a lot of things like that, and they talk about aged beef and stuff like that. I mean, there's a reason for that.
Well, we just had a meal the other night. Ness made an Italian meal. Like we in the U.S. we will have veal parmesan. That's one of my favorite Italian dishes, veal parmesan.
Right.
You can't get veal out here. The young calf type. You can't find that out here. And so she did a pork steak parmesan, the same exact way. And it was so good. But I have to make a comment sometimes. When I tell you my wife uses these recipes sometimes, that's one of her strategies of how she cooks. But she has another strategy. When I was saying she knows what herbs complement each other. So what she'll do, she'll just look in the refrigerator, or they call it the ref over here. She'll open up and she'll see, what do I have available? And then she'll pull these things out and she'll put something together. And this is where it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes she'll do that. She will make a masterpiece, a total masterpiece. I'm like, I would pay one of the best restaurants to eat this. How did you do that? Oh, I don't remember what I did. I just kind of threw these things. I said, it
can't be repeated. Yeah,
it can't be repeated. She made. There is a restaurant in Charleston that I used to go to. It's kind of like a soup and sandwich shop that they had, and they would do one of these the cheese broccoli soups, and there's a special technique to doing the blending so it's smooth. It doesn't come out watery. It doesn't come out too chunky. There's a special way to do it, and I used to always love doing that, and Ness made not with, I think it was with the broccoli and the potatoes. And we had some guests over as a matter of fact, it was Dave and Emily from Dave and Emily's Balikbayan Farming, the other vlog that we're married alongside of. And they came over and she made this soup. with the potatoes and the cheese, and it was exactly like what we got in Charleston. And I'm like, this is one of those instances where, do you remember how you did that? You got to be able to repeat that. No, I don't remember. And she has never. And that was 2 years ago, and she's still never been able to repeat that recipe.
There was a restaurant here. It was a steakhouse, it's a chain of steakhouses, and they made a potato soup that was to die for. I mean, it was, and my mother had found the recipe from a friend of hers, and we had it written down, but like all things, I didn't put it in the family cookbook, and it got lost. And it was a potato soup that was just, it was like you said, it wasn't watery, it wasn't too chunky, it was just a creamy, smooth, potato soup. But I've made it several times, but I've slept since then. The mind ain't what it used to be, and I don't have it written down anymore. And it's like,
No.
I've tried to repeat it, and I can't.
Okay.
And it just aggravates me when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like my former employer, his dad, I mean, they've always been hunters, and they do the deer, they hunt the deer and stuff, whatever. So his dad would make deer jerky. But
venison, yeah.
Yep.
he had this one batch, and I'm telling you, this was like meat candy. It was delicious. I mean, he gave me some of it, and man, that stuff was gone in like no time. It truly, it was like candy.
Yeah.
And he could never replicate it. It just that one time it just came out just like that.
Well,
what he did.
Well, I think there's so many variables when you're working with deer meat, and it all has to do with anything from the moment that you shoot the deer, if the deer is in stress or not, all the way to the time that you you strip the meat off of them, and then how you like brine the meat inside some type of a salt water or something like that to get the gaminess out of it and the tenderness out of it. There's so many variables. So for your friend that did that, it could be he might not have all those perfect things that the moon's lined up with the stars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes if they're in an area that has a high amount of natural sage, we had to watch with sage up in Colorado because those deer would eat sage and they'd get just
especially the mule deer would.
Mule deer, yeah, exactly. Mule deers were bad about eating sage and getting a sage flavor to them, and it was just like it would ruin the meat. Or depending on how you carried them out, if you drug them through instead of. And mule deers aren't the kind of deer you can toss up on your shoulders real easy. It takes two people usually to carry a good, if it's a good size one, or you have to be in good shape, which, I was a skinny little guy. So some of those, 150, 125, 150 pound deers were a little much for me to toss over my shoulder,
Absolutely.
And, these whitetail we get down here. Now that's a whole different story. Plus, they have a better whitetail, especially in Oklahoma. You tend to have a more even all around because it's basically they don't have the gaminess that you have with mule deer. Mule deer are probably the gamiest ones of any that I've had, and of course, then you get elk. That's just like a premier meat. That's like eating black Angus. That's like having a good Angus Charolais beef. It's the primo meat when it comes to game meat.
Well, I gotta say that's one thing about the U.S. They got some of the best meats in the world, especially stuff especially in Texas. Texas has all the cattle farms and the beef farms that they have down there, and that's one thing. That's one thing we're at a disadvantage for here inside the Philippines, because a lot of the Philippines, what they'll do, they have carabao here, and they use And what they do with the carabao when it's gotten to the end of its life, because they use it as a work animal, they use it to plow the
Yep.
fields with.
Kind of like
And,
an
and it,
ox.
yeah, and it stresses. What it does is that stresses the meat inside, and the meat becomes really tough. And most of the best meat is actually imported meats that they get here, whether it comes in from Australia, New Zealand, or even the United States. But Ness has found, I said this before, if you can put any kind of positive spin on a bad situation during the pandemic here, it's opened up, it's spawned so many of these online delivery services for foods and everything like that. So we get a lot of our foods from Manila, the Parañaque area. The Parañaque is around the airport up there, and they bring in a lot of stuff comes on the airlines. It comes inside there, and then it gets distributed out. And they made a really good, affordable business. As a matter of fact, tonight, this is Sunday here in the Philippines. Sunday is our steak night. So we have Friday fish. Every Friday we have fish. Fish night. Saturday is pizza night, and Sunday is steak night. So I saw on the table upstairs and on the counter by the sink. She got all these steaks laid out up there. So
if you ever stop talking, I'd like to ask you a question.
Oh. Wait a minute. Here's my mute button.
No, man, I just wanted to ask. I mean, so what's your lockdown status? Do they have you locked down, or what's going on?
No, there's still lockdowns going down. There's still different levels of quarantine levels. We're still in I think general GCQ, general community quarantine, and I think what's happening is they're trying, not because we've been going through this for such a long time, and what they're trying to do, they're finding the areas that are the most effective in small, even down to the size of a barangay, a very small town, and where they have a very high number, they're locking those down. There's a lot of those specifically in the Manila area. Dave contacts me every now and then. I don't know if they're still in the lockdown. I think they have different types of lockdowns, but we're in GCQ here, which means basically we can do about everything that we want to do, but everywhere we go, like yesterday, we had to go into town. You have to wear the mask and you have to wear the face shield. Anytime you're at any business, they double up everything right here.
You gotta wear both?
We have to wear both. We have to wear both in a shopping community, like a mall, a grocery store, any type of a public area where you have lots of people. But I look at it like this. I would much rather conform to those policies and not be in a lockdown, because if you don't do that, then they're going to end up putting you into a lockdown. Because it's
I get that. I just, you know what? This is what freaks me out, man. And there's so many things that show this, is that outside in the sun, you're not shooting shit to anybody. As long as you keep away. I'm not saying you should go up and hug everybody, but I mean, this is what freaks me out. No, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of places where it's a lot worse. I mean, Australia. I always wanted to go to Australia, but man, they have those bastards locked down like crazy, man.
Yeah.
I
mean, as a matter of fact, Australia and New Zealand, because let me give you an example. The project that we're working on right now, the pavilion project in our backyard, one of our prime source of supplies for our roofing material comes out of New Zealand. It's a company called Decra. And right now, when I went back to my Decra supplier here in the city of Lipa, the color that I originally wanted to get, it's not available, and they won't be able to get it because the company shut down production. It's all shut down on production right now. So I'm not going to reveal it here, but I can say I didn't use the color of the, but with the color, I ended up choosing. But, you know, sometimes things work out for a reason. When you think, oh, it's a catastrophe and I have to change something, go in another direction. But sometimes the other direction that you go ends up being a blessing. I will tell you. You wait till you see what we ended up selecting. It's one of the upcoming episodes. We're actually ahead of schedule on pushing the videos. They're not public. We're doing every 3 to 4 days. You'll see sequentially our videos are going to be going on this project right here. But I do reveal one of the videos is we selected our roofing material, and I think you're going to really like that. But getting back to your thing, yeah, they're really locked down in Australia. They're really locked down. But my personal view on that is use common sense. Use common sense.
Yeah.
Listen to all the information that's coming in from the professionals, the healthcare professionals, the CDC, the World Health Organization. Listen to all the people who get paid to analyze all the stuff. Look at your risk factor. Look at what you've done to prepare yourself. Like Ness and I, but we've gotten both of our vaccines here. Although it's not the wonderful Moderna, it's not the wonderful Pfizer. We ended up getting, and I think I told everybody but it's better than nothing. It doesn't have the efficiency rate or the efficacy rate, I think they call it as 5. But we did something. We were proactive. So we know in the event that for some reason we did contract it, we know we have much better survivability rate than so you look at all these things. And then when we go out in public, we do what the community is saying, the government is saying for that. So we have another protection line. I would rather be overprotected than unprotected, because I will tell you, and I brought this up in previous episodes on our show here, is that our family has been affected. But we've had family members. I've had an aunt, an uncle, 2 cousins, and that's in the U.S. that have contracted it. And then we have family members here, close family members here in the Philippines. And I honestly believe, and based on everything I just talked about, it's because of the lack of adherence to protocol and the scientific information that came out. They caught it. We haven't caught it. I'm not saying that we won't, but we're doing not 100%, but like when the delivery people come to deliver us food, that's when they talk about contact tracing. That's a person that would be part of a contact trace, somebody that we don't know. We mask up when we go to the gate. We don't put the face shield on, but we put the mask on. Right. And then we accepted the delivery of the food or the delivery of the merchandise, stuff like that. But you can see, for us, it's been effective. And Ed, you haven't been here before when I talked. Before, I will say, every year before the pandemic came, every year I caught the flu. And usually a couple times a year. And I catch bad colds. But since I've been masking up and doing this kind of stuff, I've had 0 over 2 years. I've never, ever in my entire life, ever not gone a year without catching colds or flus or having. Yeah. And since I've done this, it's like just nothing. Dengue. Yeah. Well, the mosquitoes, unfortunately, the mosquitoes don't listen to the protocol around here. They're on their own, and
they're not wearing the mask or the face shield.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I honestly feel that the dengue was almost as bad as a mild version of COVID over here. It felt like I was on death row when I caught that dengue. But I survived. It was 1 week of pure hell, and I thank God that I survived all that. And I'm more cautious about what I do out in the yard. And all
Judy and I both got the shots. I had the Moderna and she got the Pfizer. So, but even with that, I still. And we don't have the restrictions right now here in Oklahoma, but I will still put on a mask when I go into a store, simply because I don't know what the other person has. And people argue that, well, it's to protect them. No, it's to protect. It's actually to protect Judy. I don't want to bring home something. I figure if I can cough this stuff out and the mask will stop that from happening, that's one thing. Or if they can cough it out, that mask doesn't work just one way. It works both ways. It keeps me from taking in they're
Well,
taking less chances
All
of
right.
me getting it if they don't wear it, you know. So, but this is with myself, my own health, you know. I'm high risk factor. I'm the age factor. Judy's the same way. She's got the high risk and age, and we took the shots, and I'm still taking precautions. But when I get into the car after the grocery store,
Ow.
I keep a bottle of sanitizer, and I just wash up and do my steering wheel and move on, take the
well,
mask off, and
we're in the same
All right.
category as you because
Well,
Ness has asthma. She has
here's
asthma. We're at high risk also, the same, and our age factor.
here's the deal, okay? And I've been saying this for 18 months now. I am of the belief that you can run, but you can't hide. Okay. I think I've never verified it, never had any tests. Back when I think I got it, COVID was just first being mentioned. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am not. But I'm not going to get one. Okay?
Well,
If I was going to get one, it would be a J&J. Only because it's not that weird genetic thing. RNA, I think they call it.
Yeah.
But again, I believe in my body's God-given immunity to fight this shit. If it doesn't, then I'll die. But I'm good with that. I mean, I don't know. I've never had a flu vaccine either. And
well,
I interact with the public, all that stuff, being an electrician. And I don't know. Some people have their immunity is not as strong as others, but perhaps some of that immunity loss is due to some of the medications that are doled out all the time.
well, Ed, I just want to comment that in the way I approach this is I want to do anything I can do to improve my survivability of a bad situation, and I look at it like this. I look at it like this. I worked really hard all my life, really hard. And what I worked for was for this period of my life, for me and my wife, to be able to enjoy retirement in a level of comfort, and hopefully a very long time of this period that we can do that. So that's why I'm willing to make some inconvenient. What a lot of people might say, it's inconvenient for me to wear the mask, or it's inconvenient for me to do these kind of things. I don't mind doing that, because anything that I can do to improve my situation.
Going to the mask thing. I mean, I have no problem wearing a mask inside a store. When I go to Walmart, I wore one today. It was a Trump 2020 mask, actually.
Are you going to be on Art's show tomorrow? Because that's what this is all. This is all Art's conservative show.
Yeah, this looks more along that guidelines.
I have no problem with that. And I'll tell you something else. I love the social distancing thing, the 6 feet apart thing. I mean, it's like friends I know.
That
I'm
means
ready
I don't
to
have to
hug
take a
them
bath
or
as much.
whatever. But all you other people I don't know, yeah, stay 6 feet away from me. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Okay?
see, Ed, with the social distancing thing, it works great for me. It means I only have to take a bath once a
know,
month. I don't have
isn't
to
it
put
the
on
best
cologne
thing?
as often. You know, I don't have to wear that nasty deodorant. I can smell skanky and get by with it, because if you can smell me, you're too friggin' close. Get back, you know?
I mean, dude.
There are advantages of that, yes.
Mhm.
But the
And some of the women in Oklahoma need to wear a mask. You know, some of them. They look a lot better from the eyes up. You know,
Well,
I mean,
look.
I think, and me being a practicing ventriloquist, I find that my ventriloquism is a lot better with my mask on than when I have it off. So it's just, I see all sorts of advantages to that.
Well, hey, Lloyd, because of the teeth that have fallen out of my mouth, I look way better with a mask on anyway, you know. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it freaks me out when I see people out in the great outdoors and they have a freaking mask on, or they're driving and they're in their car alone and they have a freaking mask on. I mean, it's like, okay, that's just bordering on paranoia right there.
Well, in the Philippines, it's a little different, and we do it too. Obviously, me and my wife, we sleep next to each other in bed. We're with each other all day long. Obviously, at home, we're not going to wear the mask. And what we do, it's not a paranoia for us, but we wear it because everybody else is wearing it, because we don't want to be stopped at a PNP checkpoint and them saying, what, it's a policy. Why aren't you wearing it? We don't want to go up on any Philippine blog that we're.
So you're required to wear a mask outside.
We are out when we are out in the public. Yes, anytime we're out in the public. Yeah, we're required to. Even in our subdivision. If we are walking through the subdivision, of course, what I normally do, I will slip the mask down to my chin when it's just me and Ness walking, where we're by ourselves. But as we approach people, we put the mask over.
It up. Yeah,
yeah, we pull it up. We do that. Yeah, well.
So okay. So I gotta know. Okay, so now, what is proper protocol? How many feet away before the proximity alarm goes off and you have to pull the mask up?
Well, Ed, let me put it into a different perspective. And the perspective is, I believe, and this is my opinion, if 100% of the people would adhere to the protocol and the policy, we would come out of this pandemic much faster than half the people adhering to it and the other half not adhering to it. So it's really up to us whether we want to be in a pandemic for 2 years or we want to be in a pandemic for 6 years or whatever. It will eventually, because of the herd immunity, and that's a scientific thing also. Between everything, between people getting the vaccines, the herd immunity, all these, we will eventually get it, because we've survived very similar pandemics like this over the hundreds of years that civilization has been around here. We will survive it. But how long it takes us to get out of it is all dependent on us. That's my opinion.
When you think about it, this is called COVID. This is called COVID-19, not COVID-1. So
that's right.
We've already dealt with 19 variables of it beforehand. So we survived that, and we'll, like you said, it's a length of time. How long will it go?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm all about not spreading germs. Okay, and I don't like spit up on anybody, sneeze in their face, or anything like that. I'm just saying that, okay, so many of the lockdowns and stuff, they've already shown that, like, vitamin D, sunshine, fresh air are the things that help people. You lock them down in a room or a house or whatever, they're not getting any of that. You're already knocking them down, okay? But, I mean, the 6-foot thing, I always loved that. I'm like, man, I don't want that sucker near me. And there were so many times I go in a place, I'm like, hey, man, I guess you don't get any of those. You're supposed to stay 6 feet away. Jerk, get away from me.
Hey, but, Ed, I see Lon Denard said, hey, Ed, hop on Adrian's stream after this. If you go on Adrian's channel, let Adrian know I'm not avoiding him. Unfortunately, Art's show and Adrian's show, like, they overlap each other.
Yeah.
So I let him know. If you go on there, let him know I want to jump on his show, but Normally what I do when Ed goes on a vacation or he's on a travel or something like that, and I have the opportunity during that same time slot, I jump. So I'm not avoiding it. Let him know I'm not avoiding his show. I love being able to jump, just like Lloyd does, being able to jump from show to show every now and then. But today,
but Saturday nights, it's rare for me to do anybody's show, and I only did because it's the one night out of the weekend that I don't have a show to do or any. I'll drop in and follow you guys, let's chat back and forth. But I hardly ever do because 4 days in a row, because I've now done Friday, Saturday. I'll be doing 2 on Sunday, and then mine on Monday. That's 4 days in a row is just about wears me out.
You're a superstar,
No,
Lloyd. Man,
man,
you're such a man.
I don't know how anybody. I don't know how anybody does a weekly stream, dude. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, but I've been lucky. Never. It was always when I just got a wild hair up my ass, had a few beers, whatever, and just got the urge. As far as doing the scheduled thing, that would be way too much stress for me.
I'm at the point now. I've been doing this for so long. I'm at the point, other than a glitch now and then, which I seem to have one glitch every week. I've got it all automated, so I can go in. I've got a row of buttons here. I can push the button, start it. I can push the button, stop it, and do the changes. I've got myself into a pattern. I know it 30 minutes through. I do a shameless plug and do my advertisement to sell my merch, and then and I've even got a pre-taped commercial. I just push the button. It says right there on my thing, shameless plug, and it runs. It runs the video.
I'm definitely going to leverage on you guys' skill. I froze up here for a second. Lloyd and Art and Greg, because once I have 2 projects. The project we're doing the Pavilion, and after the Pavilion project is doing build wardrobe. We're building all the wardrobe set. Then after that, I'm kind of like in cruise control mode, and I want to do what you guys are doing. Well, I guess I have to correct myself. A 3rd project, the room where the live stream is going to be done. That's in the basement. We have a spare bedroom. We're going to do like a little library wall on one side. We're going to do that. But I'm going to have to leverage off for you guys because there's a lot of little things inside. Like I have simple questions that seem like it would be so simple to know. It's like when people are in the comment section, right? In the comment section, and they do something as simple like of Lloyd, if you're in there, or Art, and you're in there, and they do at the Grumpy Vlogger and it's highlighted it's got a highlighted yellow in the back. How do you get that highlighted yellow inside the comment section? How do you guys do that?
You do you do the @ sign in front of it.
The @ is what does that.
Yep.
Okay, so does it have to be a link or so? Because I did like @ somebody's name that was in there. We'll say like Steve Mack that's inside, and I did. Somebody will greet me, and they'll say something, and I go, oh, and I'll do @ Steve Mack, and I'll put that, but it doesn't show up the yellow inside. It just shows the @ symbol.
Oh, it does shows up on their side.
It only shows to them. It's a one-way thing.
Yep.
Except when Art, who is the host of this show, when he shows it, see.
Well, look here right now. Love my drones. Just put LOL @ Steve Mack, but @ Steve Mack is not highlighted in yellow.
Yeah,
no,
but
if Steve Mack sees it, it'll be highlighted.
Yeah. It's only to let you know that somebody has picked you out in the conversation, and it lets you know. Oh, pay attention! Like,
are you in chat, James? Type something in chat. James.
I can't because I'm in. When you're in the chat, I can't type anything except for a private chat. I would have to open up another browser, log into.
Oh, yeah, you would have to have a tab for YouTube and then one for StreamYard. Yeah.
Are you on a phone, James?
No, I'm on.
No, he's on his laptop.
I'm on my laptop, and I've got Google Chrome open.
You open up another window.
Just open up YouTube.
Open up another tab of YouTube and pop out because that's what I do. I have.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that.
Also, turn off
gonna do
the
that.
sound when you get to YouTube, so you don't get
Otherwise,
Yeah.
that weird
Lame sound.
sound.
Well, you're not
Yeah.
going to hear it. You're not going to. Okay, so I see everybody here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type. I'm just going to type the word at ArtCo. Oh.
It only
And-
works in the YouTube
Okay,
chat. It
I
won't
ju- I ju-
work in the StreamYard chat.
Okay, so I went ahead and
Right.
I went in YouTube. I opened
Okay.
the YouTube and I just did.
Yep,
you
I
what
see it.
wrote? You see it?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I don't see it here. So it did work before when I went and
Yep.
did that.
So are you my pie dream?
My PI dream.
My
Yeah.
PI.
Yeah, it should have just popped up orange for you.
No, it didn't. It didn't. It's not. Here.
Wait a minute.
It's neither one. No, nobody. It's
Okay.
all
That's. Hang on a second.
here. Here, I'm going to screenshot. I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to screenshot this.
There
and
you
I'm
go,
gonna-
James. Did it highlight for you?
Well, if you're
No,
doing
no.
it, okay, it will not do it in the StreamYard chat.
Oh,
will do
okay.
it.
Yeah,
in
it
the
won't do
pop-out
it.
chat on the YouTube
It's gotta
channel.
be YouTube.
Oh, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
How do a senior citizen survive this technology?
I don't know. I've been doing it for
I
so
was-
long. You know.
You guys are. You guys do. I don't think Art's a senior citizen yet.
I'm
Oh,
close
He's
to
getting
it.
awful close. He's over.
That brings up that was one of the main reasons I'm so glad that Lloyd that you are here this morning. I got a question. When I heard you say that you were retired Air Force, I have a question for you because I'm approaching a critical pivot point in decision making. Now, when you were active duty and when you retired, did you have TRICARE in the military? I'm sure you did.
Because
you didn't.
No. First off, when I retired on full disability rather than the 20 years, so I don't have anything but Medicare. But Judy, on the other hand, has Champ VA, which is what used to be when I first retired out. TRICARE wasn't a thing. They had, you had your. It was called Champ US, which is civilian hospital.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then they switched to TRICARE.
Correct.
Now, what you probably are wondering is, should you keep with TRICARE or should you go with Medicare or combine the both? Now, I'm not sure about TRICARE because now with Judy, she has both Medicare and Champ VA, which is the old system. And Champ VA is the secondary insurance. Medicare is her primary insurance. And what that does is that pays 100%. But
That's
I don't,
awesome.
you'd have to check into TRICARE to see how they do it.
Well, TRICARE, from what I read, right, because we have TRICARE Prime. We have TRICARE Prime.
Right.
And then I think you can go because you have to make a selection. I think it's 6 months before your 65th birthday, I think is what it is in that window to be, because you can keep TRICARE. You can keep TRICARE.
Right.
And I think it's TRICARE for life. I believe it goes over to TRICARE for life. And you can have Medicare, but to be able to do that, you also have to have Medicare Part B. You have to do both those. So my big question, and I probably should contact somebody from TRICARE, but maybe it would be great if I get the answer here. Is it a double jeopardy kind? So do I pay for TRICARE and the Medicare Part B? Do I get double? Because it's real TRICARE right now for the 30 years, whatever that I've had, either from the previous version of TRICARE that you were talking about, the TRICARE now. It's very affordable for military members. I mean, family coverage.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, it's only like about $600 a year for the coverage for the two of us.
Okay.
Now, when I go, am I going to have to pay for Medicare Part B and pay for TRICARE and because
but you're talking, I think right now, because Judy doesn't pay anything for her Champ VA, but that's her secondary insurance. And what it does is it creates a situation where you have a zero deductible. Now you can get like you can go through. I go through community care, which is an insurance program that is carried by my local hospital and the hospitals up in Tulsa, because I live in Muskogee, and they're all part of the nuns network. Basically, it's the saints network. I think they call it Saint Francis, Saint John, Saint whoever. They all part of this community care. I don't pay. I was paying $99 a month out of my Medicare for my Medicare. Okay, that's about what it cost, $99 to $100 a month. And now I don't miss that money because I don't notice that money. It didn't really drop me because my pay increases have gone up. And so I have what's called their Silver Plus pack, which is zero deductibles. You know, I think I have a $5 copay. I have a minimal. Well, had I had, of course, I go to the VA hospital to get a lot of my medication, so I get them for free. But with Judy, what they do is she has her Medicare, and no matter what she does, whether she was in the hospital back in January, well, they ran these CTs, but they forgot to bill her insurance company, and they were sent their secondary insurance company. They sent me the bill, and then it went to collection. I called them up and I said, "Hey, did they ever file this on the insurance like they're supposed to?" And she says, "No." She says, "We'll do it for you and pull it off of your credit." So, they took care of it, and that was the last I heard about it.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
But it was like, so what you're covering, you'll have, basically this will become a supplement. Your TRICARE would be a supplement, and that really lowers your yearly deductibles and your out-of-pocket expenses for your medicines.
Well, we are kind of.
Hey, we got Tom and Bruce Philippines in the chat.
Maybe I can also leverage on your opinion. So it's like for us, and it's kind of odd because remember, I'm retired in the Philippines. I'm 100% retired in the Philippines. This is where we plan on spending the rest of our life. That's why we're investing in our home, our property here, and everything. So our availability of resources from the VA, which in the U.S., that's who my PHP is, or PCP is the VA in the U.S. Over here, all they have is up in the Manila area and up towards north of the Manila area. They just have clinics. They have some VA clinics. And from what I understand already over here, even for me, it really doesn't do me any good because what they see military retirees are people with pre-existing military-related conditions. That's what they handle up there. So if I have something like a kidney stone or something like that, I don't think they'll even see me if I were to go up in that area right there. So now I'm paying. Again, it's one of those kind of decisions that you have to make. I'm paying for a service that unless I travel back to the U.S., how much will I be able to take advantage of it? Now, one thing about TRICARE, they do authorize certain hospitals that they have accredited, and what you do is you pay up front, and then you file. Hey, Tom and Ruth. Hey, guys.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You gotta pay up front.
You gotta pay up front. You gotta pay. But I add on defense of the way things work in the Philippines, I will tell you procedures in the Philippines are a fraction of the cost of what they cost in the U.S. So I did an episode. I had 2 kidney stones. Both of them under whatever the minimum size before they had to do invasive surgery to do anything with it. Right. So I went into the hospital and I had the MRI. They did an MRI. They did X-rays. They did. Right. I was in the emergency. I went in an emergency room. That's how bad it was. It was debilitating. I ended up spending 3 stays at the hospital. Right. And I calculated what they would have charged me in the U.S. for all the procedures that I did, including the services, and it would have been $15,000 to $20,000 US to have done what I would have done over here.
Know, but
let me tell you, you want to know? You want to, Ed? Listen to this. You want to know how much I got charged that I had to pay out of pocket? $500. That's what I paid
I
for all those.
know, bro. Shit, man. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have $500 to pay out for
Well,
anything. Even
well,
that.
anyway, I didn't find out until later. This is when I started doing some interesting research about what can I do with my VA, because when you go to the office, the billing office at the hospital, they won't. Ed, you're going to hate this. I got to tell you a little fun fact about the Philippine hospitals. You cannot be discharged out of a hospital until you've paid your bill in full, 100%. They won't let you out the door. You cannot leave.
I
Security
know.
will.
Well, I mean, what?
You're yes,
You're
yeah.
held for ransom, basically.
You are, but no, everybody makes some type of accommodation. It's standard, and it's standard operating procedure. Everybody understands the way things work over here. But
Yeah.
what I found out later on, even the hospital that I went to, I didn't realize it's one of those accredited by TRICARE. And what I would have done, I could have taken that bill and I could have submitted it as a claim to TRICARE, and I would have probably been reimbursed.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, but 100%, possibly, maybe a percentage.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I also have a backup solution. We have PhilHealth over here, and PhilHealth is very inexpensive. My wife and I have that, and it covered. It was really surprising. It covered a lot of the bills I've been hospitalized twice over here, and it covered a lot of the costs.
Yeah, in your situation, James, you might be better off not going for the Medicare if you have a private insurance that is accepted there and with a low cost, because, if it costs you $500 for 4 days and you're paying $99 a month for 3 days, you're better off that way, and submit your bill to TRICARE and just keep your TRICARE that you're on. If it's only $600 a year, that's less than what is that, $60, 70?
Well,
70
Medicare,
bucks a month,
This is what is freaking me out. Okay, what James just said. Oh, they won't let you out until you pay your bill. It's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You got me locked up here as a hostage.
Yeah. Well,
I
the
don't
hospital
have the money to pay the bill, so you're just gonna keep feeding me? Okay, I guess I'm living here.
Yeah. Well, when you think in that perspective, Ed, we think as Americans, especially if you've never lived in a foreign country and seen how they do business, we think of how we would normally do business. You're not going to hold me hostage at the hospital in the U.S. We know it's just the way. But you got to realize the costs are much less over here. It's a protectionary measure, because in the U.S., the hospitals, they allow and they overcharge for everything. Again, this is something for your tomorrow show, Art.
Yeah, that's to make up
our
for
cost,
the deadbeats like me.
our costs in the U.S. are so high for insurance and for all these things inside there. There's a buffer area that will compensate for that. They don't have those resources inside the Philippines to be able to do the same thing. So their SOP is to do these kind of measures. They charge you very little, but they make sure that you pay, and it all balances out. It's a way they do things over here. People accept it. No, I don't know of anybody that it gripes about it. So it all works. It all works out.
You know what's
it's a
weird,
mindset.
James?
Yeah.
When I hear you talk, whatever, I would never imagine that you are in the Philippines. I mean, you seem like some dude from like New
South
York,
Carolina. But you know what?
James
and I
is
got
an old hippie at heart.
I am. I truly am.
I recognized that in you a long time ago.
I got to tell you, Ed. One of the biggest things about my 20-year career with the military and going around the world and being able to experience all the cultures around the world, you get a better understanding. Because the folks who live in one country and only stay in that one country and never leave it, they don't understand how the dynamics are so different around the world. So what I did from the very beginning, every country that I went to, I assimilate. I assimilate when I lived in Saudi Arabia, when I lived in Turkey, when I lived
dude,
in South Korea.
I gotta tell you, man, all that's so cool, and my geographical experience is very limited, and and I think it's freaking awesome. I mean, I can't imagine like what you've already alluded to, the places you've been, and you're in the Philippines now. Art's been in the Philippines, I can't even imagine that.
I will tell you, Ed, the secret to success of moving to any foreign country, the secret to success and happiness is adapting to the culture there. Don't bring your values and your lifestyle from your home country, and try to convert the host country that you're staying in to yours. If you do that, if you adapt, and I try to be as much Filipino as I possibly can inside, and think like a Filipino when I do things up here. And I will tell you, it works. It works so well. And I will tell you, from my experience, from foreigners that even in our subdivision right here, foreigners who come over here, and they bring their baggage from their home country, and they try to change people. They're miserable. They hate the Philippines because they don't understand. They just don't understand it,
Yeah, people go to Mexico all the time, and they hate it, but they don't understand it. They don't live it,
Yeah.
And
I gotta tell you, I love it over here, guys. I absolutely love it. I have less stress. I have less medical conditions than I did when I was back in the U.S. And in my day-to-day lifestyle, it's enjoyable. I am enjoying retirement over here. I really am.
James, I gotta say this, okay? And this is the one thing you said it so well when you said that you leave your baggage behind and you try to assimilate. And that is one of the things that pisses me off about the people that are invading this country, the United States. They don't want to assimilate. They want to be their own culture, but here in the U.S. Whereas you went to the Philippines and you are assimilating to them because that's their country. And now it's your country.
Mhm.
But that's the way it's supposed to work, not.
And I let everybody know, even though I'm a permanent resident here, it's not. I don't have citizenship, but I have permanent residency over here, and I let the people know. Again, I have many friends from the community. I get out, and there's no poor people in my mind. There's no rich people in my mind. Everybody is the same. I treat everybody the same over here, and they see that. And what they do is they embrace me and my wife here by doing things like that. And it's a very successful thing. And I think it's going to give us a very long and happy retirement by doing things like that.
Yeah.
So I recommend anybody deciding, and it's not just the Philippines, any country that you go to. And again, the dynamics of every country are different. We have very unique dynamics in the United States, very unique dynamics, and they're very challenging dynamics because, and again, this is for Art's Tomorrow show, but we have so many freedoms, and occasionally I say we have too many freedoms inside the U.S. Again, I don't want to bring up the topics, but and that becomes a challenge when you have so much ability to do the things and people think they have rights to do, even though ethically and morally, they're probably not right things to do. But people say, since I'm an American, I feel like I can do it because it's my God-given right as an American to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
But there's no consciousness. There's no consciousness to some of the effects that they do that affects other people from some of the actions that they do. Where in the Philippines, one thing I like about the Philippines and many of the other countries is it's a very conservative country. And I find, especially countries that have a religious type of a background, which the
Hierarchy,
Philippines, the Philippines is very much like that. People think before they do something. The majority of the people, the huge majority of the people think like that. They have a conscience. They know there's a stigma attached to doing something wrong, and they don't want to be shunned. So they think
That's
before
cool.
they do. They don't have to worry about being arrested like in Saudi Arabia when you do something wrong and having a finger cut off or something, which that's the
Right,
motivation. And that, again, that's for another day, for another talk.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah,
that's right
yeah.
or wrong, that everybody thinks differently.
You
But in
know,
the Philippines,
You know what, James? Over the last couple days, my hope for humanity has increased because I know there's love and goodwill out there.
there really is. Yeah.
Um, it gets clouded up with some of the idiots out there, and there are plenty of them. But in the end, you see these shining bright stars. It's like, and there is still hope for humanity. There's a lot of good people out there, dude.
Well,
And you know
Ed,
this.
yeah, Ed, both kindness and hatred are contagious. Okay, they can be a virus. You can spread either one. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
so
You know, it's funny because I worked in South Florida for a while, for 10, 12 years, and there were people from the Philippines there, Argentina, Cuba, Puerto Rico, whatever, and they all had good hearts, man.
I gotta tell you, the Filipinos are some of the kindest people,
But
if not
I
the kindest people I've ever met
absolutely-
around the world. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
I agree completely, 100%. Because there was a Filipino, there might have been two, that worked there.
Hey, let me interrupt you for a minute, Ed.
At the place I
Ed.
managed, and they were awesome.
Hello, Ed.
Made me
World of
some meals and
Oh,
stuff, you know,
Hey, Ed.
tasty.
Ed.
Ed.
Am I muted? I was going to say, I've been on here for 3 hours, and I'm going to have to get off and do some things.
Yeah.
I
It's
think this is
getting
Dan.
about that time that we gotta,
Right.
It's about
let
that
some
time for
other
me.
people go over to Adrian's show.
Yeah,
So
I just want
Right.
one thing, Art. Before you close, and it's a brief. I would just want to let you know my controller came. I haven't even unpacked it yet. This is the
awesome.
control. This is for the Air 2S to replace the one that's dead. The other one is totally dead. No lights coming, no battery. You can't charge. You can't do anything with it.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
I haven't taken
good.
out the bag, but I wanted to show you. I ordered this on Amazon.com. This is a drone show, so we should probably say something about drones. Anyway,
Yeah.
I ordered this on Amazon.com. They sent it to me from China, but there's no DJI box. It says you can see right through there the DJI logo.
Yeah, it says
inside.
DJI. I can
Well,
see that.
I
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
it works.
But I don't know. I haven't even taken out the bag yet. It just came in. So I actually have some people asking me questions. So on your next show, if I'm invited, I will hopefully get this thing battery powered up, charged, and try and see how it
Awesome.
works because my Phantom 4 Pro is dead in the water. So I have no drone capability right now.
Oh, okay.
Well, James, it was definitely good visiting with you.
Same
Yep.
same here, Lloyd.
we
It's
don't
always a
we
pleasure.
don't
See
get
you,
together
Lloyd.
very often, but
No, we
and
don't. We need to do it more often.
I need to get a time when you can be on my show some night, on a Monday at 7:00 Central, whenever that is your
Is
time.
We are 12 right now with the time period that we have right now. We are
It's fixing to
exactly
change,
12
too.
hours. We're exactly 12 hours from Eastern Standard Time. So
Yeah.
when
Okay,
is
so it'd
when is
be
yours? When is yours?
7 Central. 7
PM?
Central. 7 p.m. Central Monday evenings.
So that would be 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right? 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's 8
Yep,
a.m.
that's
my
right.
time. Yeah, 8 a.m. I can do 8. When I'm not working, you have to wait for this. You're going to have to wait for this project to get over because I start about.
Oh yeah,
7:30.
yeah. Well, once you
Yeah.
get all your ducks lined out and everything ready to go,
I would be
And,
honored. I would be totally honored to be on
yeah,
your
I'd love
channel.
to
That
have
would be
you on.
awesome.
So do the Filipinos talk that fast, James?
No, I got to tell you, when I talk fast, it's there's two influences. I remember I claim New York and South Carolina for recognition. But when I know that, no, but it's not, and that's not the influence. I think what the influence is.
South Carolina and how fast you were
I
talking.
think it's the New York influence, my Yankee influence, as well as in the military. Because in the military, what you learn is you have to get the information out as quick as possible,
quickly as
concise,
possible.
quickly, concise, and you have to get it out there. And I'm used to when I'm doing briefings to the commander and everything like that.
Yep.
You can't you have a very
You ain't
limited
got
window
time.
to get the information.
Because-
Yeah, you don't have
Wait
time.
a minute.
And
Okay.
we have a
Much time in the ship,
limited
you got-
time here. So,
Yes, that's
Ed, could you?
I just want to hear James try and do some South Carolina talk.
Some South Carolina talk. Well, yesterday we went out, we did some deer hunting, and it was my first time I was out hunting. So what I had to do is, how we do the tradition, we cut the bottom of the shirt. So I got my first deer and I was able to cut the bottom of my shirt. Now I feel like I'm part of the clan. How's that, Ed?
Well done. Well
You
done.
started out okay, but then you lost it when you went.
But Ed, I think Art's trying to say the show's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to do. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get this thing closed out.
All right, Ed. Thanks for coming, and it's great seeing you. And you're in good spirits. Glad you're back, man. James, great having you as always. And Lloyd, thank you very much for filling in. And
I could.
everybody in the chat, thanks for coming. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
I
Bye-bye.
Later, bro.
Cheers. Salamat.